every time. See, it's a good countdown. It's a good countdown.
It is a good countdown. It gives me 30 seconds to do one last tweet before we start.
Oh, that's what you're doing.
But then I get that like Mission Impossible anxiety where it's like you've got the countdown going. You're like, oh, I gotta get it done.
You need to change. You need to have the dynamite or the bomb now.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'm gonna
going around like
now.
in like a square to the very center.
Oh, I gotta change that. I gotta do that.
So, welcome back to the Luke Deckard Show.
Phil? Yes, welcome. Thank you,
Nadine.
Nadine.
Thank you so much.
Special guest. Yay!
So, I'm stoked. I've been looking forward to this for so long.
So long.
I was literally counting down each episode until I get to the time get on this show.
I've been eagerly anticipating tonight for a very, very long time since episode 1 of She-Hulk. So for those who don't know, tonight we are doing our She-Hulk Smash and Bash.
Yeah.
And we have brought Nadine Matheson, who is a crime writer and lawyer here in London, to discuss everything She-Hulk related. Because, we thought, hey, Nadine and I, we are both storytellers. We're both writers, but Nadine is also a lawyer, so she has a concept of what the law is like.
It only just occurred to me when you said it, the lawyer bit. I was like, oh yeah, because it's attorney at law. It makes perfect sense.
It does.
Right?
It's the perfect fit. And we're gonna dive into everything that's been going on with season 1 of She-Hulk, how it's ups and it's down. I don't know what the ups were. I guess the end credits are the ups. Okay. There we go.
I like the cartoon bit at the end. Yeah. I think I can say. I mean, the mere fact I'm wearing my Batman t-shirt.
That's right.
Tough.
It's a lovely t-shirt. I do like the spray. I do like the spray paint effect.
I liked it. It was either this one or my glow in the dark one, but it wouldn't have the same effect.
No.
Darkness.
Just turn the lights off. We just see the glowing bat symbol the whole time. Frank has pointed out in the chat that I have shaved, and I did, because I did one of those things where, like, I guess only Phil will know what I'm talking about, but like when you go to shave and you mess up, and you're like, the only way to fix this
is to shave more.
And then it's like you just got to do the whole thing. Has to go. So that's that. Chief Brody Rules, aka Frank, also says the Batman t-shirt is on point.
Thank you very much.
On point.
Way to go.
Absolutely.
So before we get into She-Hulk, though, there is one thing we are going to talk about, because Phil has some comments.
Well, that's because me and you, we were chatting just today or yesterday, and you sent me a picture, and then I was just like, I ain't vibing with this. I'm not vibing. I just had to express myself to you, and I was like, we'll bring it up on the podcast.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
For a couple minutes here, we're going to give some opinions on what we think of the poster for the new Mario movie.
Yeah, this is classic. Sorry, go on.
No, was it yesterday they dropped it? Because I think yesterday was the first time I saw this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I thought it was a game, and then I saw whatever the release date is.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh.
And it's a movie.
It is.
That's what it is.
I thought it was a game too, and I looked at it and I thought, oh, they're coming out with a new Mario game. That's cool. That looks like Mario. That looks like Mario. That's fine. I sent it to Phil. Phil had... I saw this poster, and I genuinely didn't mind it. It doesn't bother me. It's like, it looks like Mario. It looks like it's what Mario, I guess, is.
Yeah.
Growing up, I don't know if you guys ever watched the cartoon from the 80s, the Super Mario Brothers cartoon. Like, that was great. This sort of...
Luke, you came over to my house back in 2008, 2007. You brought the Mario movie, and we had a bunch of friends over, and I watched...
the Hoskins one?
Yes.
Oh, bless.
And when we watched that, it was the first time I've ever seen this movie, and I can't remember the last time I actually felt physical pain watching a film. And I'll never forgive you for that, Luke, but here we are, and I'll leave it to myself. But there we go. That's my experience with another Mario movie.
I mean, Mario
So,
live action was terrible, but it's endearing in its own way.
I can see that. I can, looking back, I've recovered from the the ailments of that film, and I can now appreciate it for what it is in a very bizarre way. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about is like my opinion for this was like the first thing that I noticed with this was just like, have any of you have any like experience watching a movie by Illumination animation?
It's Minions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Minions,
Oh right,
Despicable
okay,
Me.
Minions.
Yeah.
It's just, correct me if I'm wrong. They also did Secret Life of Pets and
Yeah.
Sing. I don't know if they did
think
that
they've
or that
done
was
Sing.
Sony. Yeah, and this is exactly what I'm feeling is going to be the Mario movie, because like that's just it. The pretense of just having Illumination doing it gives me there's a lot of that baggage that they have to spring over to make me convinced that it's going to be something worthwhile for me, because it just feels like this looks like I told Luke, like it looks like B movie, it looks like Lego movie, which is a good movie, but I'm just using it as like a framework for like how the story might progress. And what was the other thing I said?
I can't
There were
remember.
3 examples, and they were all kind of the same. Lego movie,
or
B
something
movie,
like that. But yeah,
where a character is in this. Oh, an Emoji movie, right? Where a character is like.
My godkids made me watch it 3 times. I don't know what.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh,
Oh
my God.
no!
I don't know why.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Yeah, and this is kind of what it's reminding me of. It's giving that feeling that it's going to be a regular person in a regular world that's going to be kind of fun and have jokes in it. Like it's going to be in Toad World, the Mushroom Kingdom. It's like, hello, and we're gonna we're making coffee, and he's going to get mushroom coffee, and it's like, Luigi, we never do anything out of the ordinary.
But
And
is
then-
that a problem though? I mean, is
Well,
that
I don't think so. I just thought it just immediately just reminds me of the game. So I don't think I'd have
Yeah.
a problem if it's just a day in the life. of
yeah, no, you have a
Mario
point,
and Luigi.
but maybe I'm just expecting something a little bit more than that.
I mean,
I'm
I think. I mean,
expecting-
that's always the thing. They're 2 plumbers from Brooklyn, so they're pulled into this crazy world. So they are. I mean, they're fish. I suppose they're sort of fish out of water.
It's like Sonic in reverse. Sonic is taken out of his.
Oh yeah, it is.
I like Sonic. I don't care what anyone says. I like the Sonic movies.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
Sure. No. Okay. And
Like,
We
yeah,
enjoy
it's
laughing at them.
so
I don't mind.
so that's kind of my prediction, like ominous feeling,
Yeah.
and I to me that just doesn't make me very interested in seeing it
I
personally.
mean, I
but
think
then
you're
again,
right, because Toad's here got a little backpack. They're clearly on an adventure, and you see this little guy here in the distance by the purple mushroom. He's given Mario a kind of weird look, like, "Ooh, who's this? Who's this fella? Who's this guy who's coming to town?" He's the new sheriff in town. I don't know.
I don't know what much more you can do with Mario though.
Yeah, what else can you
Other
do?
than unless you're gonna do Mario Kart and make it like Speed Racer. There's like
That'd be awesome.
Speed Racer is a
That's
good
not it.
movie.
I like
Speed
Speed
Racer.
Racer.
Yes, it's a great movie. I want to watch it
It's
again.
fun.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, but I don't know what more you can do with it. I want to see. Actually want to see what Mario looks like though.
Yes.
'Cause I was saying to you earlier. You remember when they first showed Sonic, the first
Yes.
version.
Oh
and-
boy.
Anyway, yeah,
It was-
and that was the
it was an
reaction
abomination
that
from
everyone
hell.
had, and then they fixed it. So I want to see what Mario looks like.
Okay, so I saw this on Twitter today. I don't know if it's legitimate or not, right? It's someone who posted it on Twitter who took it from, I think, Reddit or something like that, saying that this was early marketing material that's kind of leaked out. But this apparently is potentially the new Mario.
It just looks like Mario.
But Phil had an aversion to this, and that's why I was confused, because I saw it and thought, oh yeah, I was comparing it to Sonic. I was like, Sonic looked terrible, but yeah, this looks like
It does look like
Mario.
But it looks like Illumination's Mario, and I get it because it is. But
What's wrong with it though? What's wrong with this
I
Mario?
think you should give it a chance. I can't believe I'm saying that. I think we should give it. Let's.
There's something
We need to see
odd.
we need to see a trailer or a teaser.
Okay,
at least.
you
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
yeah.
teaser comes tomorrow.
Oh, does it?
The teaser comes tomorrow.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
No, it's just that it's something I was totally expecting just to see the Mario that we've known in his look from the past 10, 12, 15 years, because he hasn't changed much in many of the games and the promotional material of the games and all like the photos of Mario that we have.
Yeah.
So this is a little jarring. This is quite
It's
jarring
not
to
that
me.
different. This is a Mario Odyssey, whatever. This is not that different
He hasn't
to.
departed from his original incarnation.
No, he
He
hasn't.
just looks
That's
like
true.
that. It's just
It's.
Mario.
It may just be a knee-jerk reaction from me.
I think so.
just-
His suspenders obviously look more like legit jeans.
Yeah,
you
they
know.
do look like denim.
The shirt is a little bit more like clothy looking, but like
I don't think anyone will take that much offense.
no,
No.
I actually think it looks good.
But we'll
I'll
see.
be I'll be fine. I'll be fine. This is just I think maybe you sent it to me and it was the morning and I was very grumpy in the morning. So it's just kind of how it is.
Before we go on, have you seen the Chip and Dale movie?
Yes,
No, I haven't.
And
I have.
They have the original makeup of Joel Sonic
Yeah.
in
They
the
do.
movie. You need to watch it, Luke. I found it hilarious.
I want to hear what Luke thinks about it cuz
Yeah.
I saw it.
I was
I
surprised.
found some things quite fun about it.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised about it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's not I was expecting the worst, but it wasn't. I was just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then Sonic appears, and you're like, oh no, this is good.
Yeah. He not just appears, he appears later as well. And it's
Yeah.
just like I didn't expect that either. So
It's our recommendation for today, isn't it, Phil?
yeah.
I can give Chip and Dale a go. They were never characters that that I took that much interest in when I was a kid. So when the movie came out, I really wasn't that particularly interested, but I don't mind giving it a go. I have nothing against Chip and Dale. But I did see I remember seeing pictures of old Sonic or whatever, ugly Sonic as they called him, I think
Ugly
it is.
Sonic,
In there, which I mean it did look pretty funny. It did look pretty funny.
Ugly Sonic, take things slow, baby.
I'm gonna pretend I know what you're doing, what you're talking about, but I
All
don't.
right.
Okay. So should we get to
Alright.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Here's what I want to know first. When they announced She-Hulk series, what were your initial reactions?
Well, they did it. I can't remember what expo or whatever it was, but they did their normal line. I feel like, oh, cool,
Yeah.
She-Hulk. But I think the She-Hulk I have in my head is what the cameos that appeared in the 1990s Spider-Man cartoons, and then what I read. So that's what I had in my head, and so yeah, I didn't think anything of it. Then they said it's going to be a limited series. Fine. Then I saw the first either the teaser trailer or the trailer, and I just thought, no.
Yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
no, I was like, oh, yeah, like okay, and then no. Then I thought, no, I'll give it a chance. I'm not going to rush to judgment. And then I watched it. Then I saw a second trailer, and I just thought, yeah, I can see how this is going to go. I can see how this is going to go.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah, so those were my initial reactions before I actually sat down and watched it.
Phil?
I think Nadine's kind of got me covered, to be honest. I think we have similar kind of thoughts about where it's going and where it was gonna go, especially with the trailers and stuff. I think for me, I just felt like this is how I felt. This is gonna sound very funny, but like this is how I felt back in 2007 when I heard that they were making Iron Man. And I said, I was wrong. I was wrong at that point, but I was like, I guess they have to, like just dive into the bottom of the barrel because it's Iron Man. Like, what other movies can they do with comic book characters? I'm serious. That's what I thought back then.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and this is kind of how I feel now this time. So 17 odd years. 17? No, 15 years later, I'm just
Many
like,
years later.
yeah,
Many
I'm bringing up that opinion again. So that's kind of
Yeah.
how I was.
Yeah, yeah. I think the same. I think the same. The trailer came out, and I you know, the other Disney Plus shows hadn't really won me over. I really wanted to like Loki. I really did. It's average-ish to poor, in my opinion.
Oh, I wasn't that bad. I think I gave Loki about 7.5.
I would
Out of 10?
out of 10, I would
Yeah.
give Loki about a 4.
4.
No, that's
I would.
just. I would give She-Hulk a 4.
I would give She-Hulk a 1.
Actually, no.
A
that's
1.
Actually, no. I'm being very generous. I'm sure I gave it less than that. To be fair,
Ha!
after I initially watched it, I think I'm
Yeah.
probably in shock from what I watched today. That's probably why.
Probably.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was reluctant anyway. So the Marvel shows and the Star Wars shows haven't really connected with me very much. There is we talked about this before, but there is a certain kind of writing style with the Disney Plus shows that is sort of very little plot stretched very, very thin over
Yes.
the course of
Yeah,
too many episodes.
yeah.
I really feel like every Disney Plus show was probably originally a 2-hour script, 2-hour
This is
movie.
what I felt. It is what I was surprised about. I know it's going off topic. I was surprised about Moon Knight. I thought
Yeah.
when they announced Moon Knight, I thought that was going to be a movie.
Yeah,
And when I watched it, I feel like you've stretched this out because really this is just 90 minutes in the. If you want to reduce it down to that much, because you take away
Yeah.
all the credits, this is 90 minutes in the cinema.
yes,
Moon
Yeah.
Knight. Not how many episodes it was eventually dragged that into. She-Hulk, I
Right.
don't know what it is. Like,
no,
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we watched there was a guy who did a re-edit of Obi-Wan, which was really
It had the
very-
same symptoms.
yeah.
we'll
And
see.
the-
I'm very sensitive about that because I feel like it was made for me and my generation.
what
Oh
Obi-Wan?
yeah.
That's how I feel about Obi-Wan. I'm
What
very-
precious about it? Like,
Yeah,
you
I'm
liked
very
it.
precious about it.
Did you like Obi-Wan?
I did, but
Why?
I said it to. Like, I'm a '70s, very late '70s baby, '80s child.
Yeah.
So, that's the first, or say, the original trilogy of Star Wars. That's what
Yes.
I grew up with. So
Yes.
I felt like when they made Obi-Wan, I don't feel like they made it for you lot. I feel like they made it for.
How old do you think I am?
I don't know. 2.
I'm an 80s kid.
And then you said, well, I know, I'm just being ridiculous. But I honestly just thought they made it for a very specific generation. I don't think they made it for today's. For today's.
No, but I also don't think they made it for the people who like the prequels.
You think it's for the people like the prequels?
I think it was meant to be, but I don't think
Oh.
they even managed to appease that crowd.
No,
Frankly.
I wasn't a great
Um,
fan of the prequels. I grew to
Oh, they're
love
terrible.
Revenge of
Right.
the Sith. Yeah, I grew to appreciate Revenge of the Sith, but I wasn't a great fan
No.
of the prequels.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Clone Wars and the
Hey.
animated
Right.
stuff.
Right.
I still have
And
to
I
see
think-
that.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And I know we're going so off topic, but I think if you watch like Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, you watched all of that, and then you watched Obi-Wan, I think it then makes it's more sense in terms of consistency.
Maybe.
I
The thing
can
is
see
with
that.
Obi-Wan, we'll get back to She-Hulk in a second. It's all related because it's all about Disney plus story structure style. The thing with Obi-Wan, I didn't dislike the fact that he was, kind of not really settled and not necessarily the Obi-Wan that we see in A New Hope.
Mhm.
That stuff didn't fully bother me. The stuff that did were things like the uncharacteristic things of he's tuned out from the Force. He's working in a weird meat factory in the middle of a desert. But at the same time, he's really worried and anxious about Luke needing to be trained in the Force. It's like, well, if you are turning yourself off from the Force, why are you worried about training Luke in the Force? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't tally.
Yeah, it doesn't. Nor does it tally for him to go on this big grand adventure with Princess Leia for her 10 years later to not give a shit about him dying and seeing him die.
It's so
And
true.
then coming up to Luke and be like, I'm sorry about your friend.
I know. There's a lot of plot holes that I choose to ignore because I enjoy
Okay.
it.
I mean, fair enough.
Really
You know.
too much. But it's true. It's
Yeah.
I think that's the you said, that's the Disney factory
Yes. Yeah.
input, which affects
Disney
it.
factory.
They're not interested in actual. I'm going to do the quote in actual story and
No.
consistency, and I think that's the problem
Yes.
with
I
the
think
new
that's-
batch of Marvel stuff
Oh
that's
gosh.
come out. It complete anything after Winter Soldier, as far as I'm concerned, it lacks consistency.
I agree. Totally. Winter Soldier was my kind of peak with Marvel. After that, it was just for me downhill. I was a big fan, and then I was like, I got bored really, really quickly after that. Frank in the chat says, Moon Knight came out already?
It came and went. Midnight
It came and went.
I think that's the problem with She-Hulk, is the fact that I was saying this to my brother earlier. This is my view of it. When you watched God, I'm trying to think. When you watch WandaVision, like it led up to something. When you watch Winter Soldier and Falcon, you know it's post Endgame. So, you know, there's a clear link. And I said, even going as far back as Agents of Shield, I said the first season of Agents of Shield, the first half of it was a bit dry for me. But it's when it's linked up to Winter Soldier and the whole. That's when Agent of Shield got good. So for TV shows and the movies, there's consistency because there's a clear link. She-Hulk, I don't know what the point of it is yet, and people are, you know, they got all these theories out in the air, like, oh, it's the leaders, it's linked up to Secret Wars, all of this. But you're like, well, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
To suggest that.
I mean, if we think about this, if we think about episode 1 of She-Hulk and what happens in that, how long was it? Something, I don't have the time in front of me, but it was like something like 30-40 minutes long, right?
It's not even that long.
No. I mean, this is something that drives me nuts. Oh, it's 38 minutes long, but if you chop out the end credits and the beginning credits, that takes off about 4 to 5 minutes of this runtime is chopped off with credits, which really irks me. Every Disney Plus show does this. They pretend to be a 40-minute show, but they're actually in the 30-minute range. And it's like, you need to stop it with your really long credits, because I think it feels like false advertisement.
Yeah. Well, it felt like the first episode because I watched it twice. There's a reason why I watched it twice, not because I wanted to. It's because I watched it the first time, and the second time my cousin had come round to see me. Yeah. And he's like, he'll watch all the Marvel stuff, but he said, I'm not watching She-Hulk. I'm like, no, you need to watch the first one just so you'll feel justified in your reasoning. At the moment, it's just a theory for you. So I made him I don't think he's talking to me right now, but I made him sit there and watch it. And I watched it for the second time, and I just thought, no, it is bad. It's just, it's a weak opening.
It is. And the thing, what was bizarre to me about the first episode is they don't really set anything up. This is where the show is confused right out the gate, because you have this moment where the ship comes down, she crashes, and then later on Hulk is like, "Oh, I need to figure out what this is about. Yeah. You know, why are these alien people come to Earth?" Da, 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 da. And you're like, okay, in normal good story structure style, you would essentially have that be part of the setup for the whole show. Hulk is trying to figure this stuff out. He needs her help to do it, and that conflicts with her wanting to be a lawyer, right? And her lawyer duties. And there's your back and forth tension for your whole season. Like, bada bing, bada boom, you've done it. Like that's what you should do. Why that wasn't done is confusing, because suddenly ship goes away. Nothing comes up with that at all, except a little cameo with Bruce being on another alien ship flying out.
Bizarre.
I don't even remember that bit. It's only when you mentioned it, I just remembered, oh yeah, you have a little cameo.
Yeah.
Like the second episode, maybe.
Something like that, yeah. So I think it might be third, but yeah, second or third episode, it's like that. I'm like, well, I don't really understand this. And then again with is it the first episode in the first episode where at the end of it she decides to go be a lawyer. She's in court. She's defending someone who we don't know. We don't have any emotional connection to the case that she's on. And then Titania bursts in and wants to destroy some crap.
We talked about that, yeah.
And then her friend is just like, whether it's a friend or paralegal, do your thing. I was like, well, how does she even know what her thing is?
Right? it it didn't make any sense. And like again, you introduce Titania, you introduce someone who I guess is meant to be the villain of the series, maybe. Big question mark there. And the second episode, she's gone.
Yeah, you don't see her until, is it episode
like
6, the
4.
wedding episode? Or does she come back before
the
then? No, she comes
copyright.
back with the the trademark.
The trademark thing,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And then she's in the wedding episode, and then it's just the whole thing's just I can't deal with it.
It's a mess. That's kind of what I'm like, and I'm trying to be a little bit positive here, but like I'm just trying to think, because I'm trying to think like what was the intention behind it, you know? Like what's the intention? Because I'm still struggling to understand. I'm thinking after seeing all these 7 episodes, right? That's 7 is the latest one.
Yeah.
That's as far as I got. Like the trajectory is what exactly? Like, so I'm kind of thinking, did they want to make it like little vignettes of just like her life? Is that kind of what they were trying to do?
But I think you could have done that, but you need to make it clear, I think, from the beginning, that's exactly what you're doing. And from the beginning, we had, what happened? I can't remember if she starts her job, but she goes to meet Bruce. She's with Bruce, and they have an accident. And even the whole accident, how she became Hulk, like I didn't like. Actually, because she breaks the fourth wall, and then she does the flashback. Oh, this is how I became Hulk. And they have to have the accident. And the story I've always known, and I don't think there was anything wrong with this story, which is why Daredevil comes into this, in my in my opinion. The original story for She-Hulk was always that it was an assassination thing. So the hitmen came out, they shot her. She was dying, and Bruce had to give her a blood transfusion.
Yep.
And then that's how she became She-Hulk. And I think that works perfectly well with her being a lawyer.
Totally.
She's doing, yeah. To switch that to they're just driving down the road and a spaceship appears and they go off road.
Spaceship.
And then it's like, stay away from me, Jen, I'm bleeding. And then he becomes She-Hulk and she runs off.
Yeah, that really bugged me. That really, really bugged me. It was such a cheap, because like she literally instantly becomes She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Runs off, and like I can't. I mean that scene in the bathroom drives me nuts.
I don't understand why you would switch the story. I mean, I don't have a problem with switching the story because I've had to learn to get out of my comic book head and this is what we do. Some they'll go different paths. Yeah. I've learned to live with that. Reluctantly, but I don't understand the benefit of stepping away from that original story about how she became She-Hulk and doing this whole spaceship car accident and in the whole bar scene. And it just seems so reductive of her as a character. And I think that's what annoys me out of the whole thing. It just reduces Jennifer and reduces the She-Hulk character to just really bad cliches of a 1980s sitcom version of a woman. That's I've been trying to put my finger on it for like the last 7 weeks, and that is what bothers me about it most of all.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good comparison for it.
Pretty good comparison, yeah.
The whole first 2 episodes, I just felt, even now, I'm like, she's not a character. Like, no. I don't know anything about her. Like, I think the other thing that was really cringy to me, and I do feel like this was set up in Endgame. There's that really, really, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel that it's very cheesy, but there's that really cheesy bit in Endgame when they're all fighting Thanos, and there's that the girl power moment, right?
You know what the best girl power moment was on TV for me? In the season 2 of The Boys or season 3 of The Boys? Did you watch The Boys?
I love The Boys, which
and the girls gang up on that Nazi. I can't remember her name now.
Oh yeah, shit.
That's the best girl power moment because they just kick the shit out of her.
That is a really great example because The Boys is a really great show that I think takes those reluctant to use the word like political, but it takes that sort of messaging and like does it well, and like you don't feel that it's like ham-fisted and shoved down your throat. It's like, we're invested in Starlight and those particular characters and the boys, and when they do their thing, you're like, fuck yeah,
And even the guys
um,
are standing back, they're like, okay.
right?
You're saying it in Endgame, you watch it and you're just like, oh god, they made sure they were gonna slot in at this particular point to give me my moment.
Yeah, I saw it at the Picture House Central in London, right, Piccadilly. People laughed. People laughed.
I don't think that people laughed when I watched it. I think we were just tired.
It was a long film, but I say all that to say, it kind of set the tone for what I think was going to come afterwards.
Yeah,
and She-Hulk, I think, kind of takes that home with that first episode where you have that moment between her and Bruce where he's trying to teach her to control her hulking outness, and then you have that what felt really ham-fisted moment where she's like, "Oh, I'm always angry. That's why I can, do in and out of hulkiness because I'm a woman and I'm always angry."
Yeah.
And like, so Claire, my fiance, she is a lawyer as well, right? And go Lawyers. She turned to me and she's like, I don't know how, like, that must be a terrible existence to be angry all the time.
But you know what? That works for, the very first. I say the very first, not the Eric Bana Incredible Hulk, but the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie. And he, and he explains at the end of it how he's able to control it is that he's always angry. But the thing with that, when we get to that point, we've seen everything that's led up to him reaching that moment.
You've not been told. You've seen
everything. Whereas with She-Hulk, it's just okay. This is just to me, it's a series of tick boxes.
Yes.
Throughout it. Okay, we need to have the female empowerment speech, and this is me as a woman saying this, but it's like we need to have the female empowerment speech. So we get I'm always angry because I have to deal with X, Y, and Z every single day through my life. So this is like straightforward. So we have that tick box.
Yeah.
Then I don't even know what the other tick boxes are. We got the insecurities and yeah.
It's pandering. I think that's the problem with me. Is it's like if we had seen, I can't remember her name now. What's She-Hulk's real name?
Jennifer.
Jane?
Yeah.
I've forgotten her last name now.
Jen.
Jennifer Walters.
Yeah.
Jen Walters.
Jen Walters.
So, if we had seen Jennifer Walters like struggling in the office, if we had seen her like maybe working really hard on a case and some person above her like pulls it out from underneath her or something like that, where we get a sense of what her daily struggles are in life, then you can kind of get to that point. But also thinking about it right now, the fact that Bruce says in Avengers, "I'm always angry," like, why was he not like trying to teach her that method?
Because we got this whole ridiculous Professor. He's not even calling himself Professor Hulk.
No, he doesn't. He's
calling himself Smart Hulk, which has annoyed me even more. I don't know if it's something to do with rights because Universal owns the Hulk.
Something iffy.
Well, why are you calling yourself? You're Professor Hulk. And I don't know if I said it to you. I've definitely said it to someone. In that whole situation with Bruce, I found a way to be like equilibrium with the Hulk and myself. I just felt like that's like a two-scene joke that's just gone on too far.
Yes.
Because that is not, even in the comics, Professor Hulk wasn't for that long a period of time. It was very short. So to drag it out, and I wouldn't even mind so much if the CGI was good.
It really is bad. It's
You're
shocking.
just talking about the whole, like, were we talking about Professor Hulk in this case, or are we just talking about the She-Hulk show in general?
All the CGI is bad.
All the CGI. But I mean, I could have lived with Professor Hulk for that moment if it was good.
True.
CGI, but it's bad CGI for him, and then it's bad throughout.
Yeah, during Endgame. Absolutely. During Endgame, I remember when I first watched the movie, and I remember when we saw, him kind of being Professor Hulk in this case. Mm-hmm. I thought, now I knew where this story was going. My immediate thought was just, this is like a you know, like a Christmas of future yet to come situation. They're gonna go back in time and they're gonna revert the way it was before. You know, I didn't
Yeah.
expect him to stay like this
All the
long.
time.
Yeah.
I would say the blip is the one of Marvel's dumbest decisions. I think sticking to that blip
It's
and
kind of true. Yeah.
jumping things 5 years in the future hasn't done them any favors.
Where was
No.
she during the blip? Did she
Don't know.
disappear or was she there? Did
I
they
don't know if they
say
said.
it?
I don't know if they said, but it was to me the whole blip thing was silly. They should have reverted time back
Yeah.
and started back
I
from
feel
that
yeah,
point.
like I feel like it's been silly to me only because they've never really done anything afterwards. Like they never talked about like the consequences of that, like or what would happen to the world after such an event, you know, with people coming back 5 years later. And you know, they didn't take it seriously. They had their
Yep.
cake and they ate it too, you know what I mean? And you know, it's cool seeing it in the movie, right? In Endgame, in my opinion, like I thought, oh, 5 years later, that's really ballsy. They're gonna stick with this maybe, or they're gonna go back in time, but you know, if but sticking with it, I was just gonna be like, well, now you have this responsibility to implement that in a very believable, very you know, like very story centric way moving forward because you can't change things now.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They just kind
No,
of like
no.
they just kind of blanketed that with all the next movies, and it's like it never happened. And that's
Yeah.
kind of that's the
I'm
disappointing
trying to
part
think.
of
I
this
think the
whole
only
thing.
time it seems like it did happen, I think maybe it's Spider-Man, not No Way Home, Far From Home.
Yeah,
Maybe
a little
something
bit
that
more than
takes
that.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the only time it feels like they might. But then again, my argument with that is that Spider-Man's not even really a Marvel Studios.
No,
Strictly
not
speaking.
really,
no.
not really.
I think
They're
that's
being
what makes it
careful. Yeah,
Yeah. So, what about the fourth wall breaking? What are your thoughts on how it's done?
I
See,
think. Oh,
so
go
go.
on, please.
No, no, Phil, go.
All right. Thank you. I'm gonna just say, just like the entire show,
Mm,
it's weak. That's all I'm gonna say. I feel like I understand what they're trying to do with it, and I think that's how she was in the comics, historically. Like she would do what fourth wall breaks, and she would talk to the reader directly. It would be very her and Deadpool, I think, share the same kind of
Yeah,
traits, right? And but it's just it doesn't happen fast and it doesn't happen frequently enough for us to be used to it because she does it sometimes and you know most of the time she doesn't. So it doesn't you know it doesn't set the tone of what the show is, and I think that that's kind of like most of the show that I've seen so far is that it just I'm sorry like for me it's just weak like the entire like the entire show itself kind of was developed in a way where it's not strong enough
it's been
to
done. I mean, I think it's like most shows. It's been done by
yeah
committee, and
yeah.
someone
yeah
said, "Oh, let's have her break the fourth wall." I mean, I don't have a problem with characters breaking the fourth wall. I mean, Deadpool, you expect Deadpool to do, but you know, Deadpool, whether you like the movies or not, you know, Deadpool's funny. So when he does, and he does it in the comic, and he's consistent when he does it in the comics.
yeah
Yeah.
And I think just saying, Phil was saying, problem with She-Hulk is that she does it in the very beginning. So I can understand when she does it in the beginning, like, oh, you want to know how I got here? Sure,
Mhm.
actually, I do want to know how you got here because you just turn into She-Hulk in the
Yeah.
courtroom and we're like 90 seconds like into the series. So I didn't mind the fourth wall at that point. But now whenever there is a fourth wall, you're like, well, do I even need it?
Yeah.
And it's
yeah
that
yeah
you can't
yeah
really talk about storytelling. Also, there needs to be a point to something. If you have like I say, if you've got a black car driving in the background, there needs to be a reason why you've even mentioned the black car. There needs to be context to it.
Yeah.
And
hmm
just for her just to break the fourth wall just for the
Mm.
sake of breaking the fourth wall, I'm like, well, you're not enhancing your plot,
No.
basically. It's just it's there because someone said we should do it, so they're doing it.
Yeah, I
That's
think the Deadpool
unfortunate.
comparison is really good because I think I love the Deadpool films. I think Deadpool 1 and 2 are great. I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoy them. And I think they handled the fourth wall breaking really well because what you'll notice is anytime it's Wade Wilson on the screen, he doesn't break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
He only breaks it when he's Deadpool. That's it. And when he's Deadpool, there's all sorts of fourth wall breaking, and it's funny and it's relevant and it works really well. Whereas again, as we keep saying with her, yeah, it's inconsistent. Like 1 minute she's doing it as Jen Walters, 1 minute she's doing it as She-Hulk, one episode she won't do it at all, and you're like, well, what is the point? Like, surely this fourth wall breaking should have had some sort of narrative purpose,
Yeah.
and since it doesn't, it just feels like eye rolly. Like, I feel like ever since New Girl came out, like everything has just been New Girlified. Right, and like this, it just feels like quirky New Girl-esque sort of stuff, and lazy after a while. Like, to me, I'm like, this just, like, you're throwing in a moment where you're like, oh, not every episode's going to have a bunch of cameos, and then that's your only fourth wall break for the whole episode. Well, what did that do? Like, that didn't make me laugh. That didn't.
I mean, the whole point. I mean, it's the way I say it. I mean, the whole point, I think, of a fourth wall is to make the audience connect with the character, whether that's you watching the TV or whether you're picking up a comic book. It's supposed to be about connection. Yeah. But when you're watching it, when she breaks the fourth wall, I'm like, well, I don't know why are you here? That's like my view of it. I don't know why you're here at this moment. Just carry on with whatever it is that we're supposed to be invested in. I think that's the problem. I'm not invested in it. Even though I said you gave Loki, well, you gave him 4, and I think I gave it like 7.5. I was still invested in where it was going, and it still had really cool like moments in it. And same things like Winter Soldier and Falcon. I was invested. WandaVision, I was like, it was hit and miss. In the last episode, anyway, but it's like, but I'm still invested to a point.
Yeah.
This, I'm like, you haven't given me anything to. There's no one for me to root for yet. I can't root for you because you're not even. No. It's not like she's even in danger, which is the thing.
No, never. And
I know she's She-Hulk. She's not supposed to be in danger, but there should still be some. There's no threat. What's her name?
Well, Hulk was in danger in the Incredible Hulk movie.
Was he in danger?
Yes.
Oh yeah, from Abomination.
General Ross was going after his ass. He got Abomination made. Hulk was in danger. Hulk
he had the whole army after him. The whole military was after him. That's the thing. There's a clear danger. All she's had is, what's her name? Titania. I can't remember her name. Titania.
Yes, but there's also the other thing that's been set up badly is this whole people trying to get her blood.
Oh yeah, with her unbreakable skin, and then the guy taking the photograph at the end of episode 7. The thing, you know, there's things being set up, but it's being set up so poorly.
Yes.
I'm forgetting about it. I'm like, oh yeah,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nadine? Did you ever watch Smallville?
Here we go. Smallville.
See, I wasn't a fan of Smallville.
I didn't watch it, so
I would watch it on and off. That was the honest truth. I'd watch like a couple of seasons, be invested, and then it didn't capture me enough to be. I'm sitting here year in, year out. Sorry, Luke.
Okay, no, it's fine. I always come to Smallville for a particular purpose. Well, what about? Did you watch Star Trek ever?
Yeah, I did, but I'm not really a Trekkie.
Okay, fine.
I'm just going down Luke's.
No, it's fine. The point is, it's nothing.
Me and Nadine, we're kind of the same now.
Yeah. My point with these shows is that if you think about, and I think I've said this before, on Smallville, you have the season arcs, right?
Yeah.
You have the. I don't know what's one of the arcs of that season. I can't remember now because I'm on the spot. Well, there's a season. There's the one I've already mentioned before, but there's season 4 where they're all trying to find these particular elements and rock elements because they lead to a alien library of incredible knowledge. Right. The whole season you're dipping in and out of this progressing storyline. Right. You might have an episode or 3 that don't touch upon it at all, or they just have like a mention of something, right? Or like, part of season 1 was about this octagonal disc that they'd found in the middle of a cornfield that belongs to Clark's ship, and so there's these battling, there's these things of, will Clark ever get it? Will he ever put it into the ship? And that happens at the end of the season. So there's all these little things that are building towards that particular moment while you're having your episodic adventures, right? And this is I think one of the biggest problems with She-Hulk is it neither has episodic adventures or a season arc, where Loki, even though I don't like Loki as much, it does have a sort of direction. It's meant to get to the head of the
That's
TVA,
fine. Yeah,
right?
I think it's what I was saying earlier about.
Yeah.
You can see there's a clear route to all of them, even
Yeah.
with Agents of Shield.
Yeah,
There's a clear art there.
Yes, the plot for Loki and stuff. It's thin, but you know where you're going, right? You're you're slowly getting to the point with Loki. With this, with She-Hulk, there is no point. You know, she's injected. These guys try and mug her. They try to inject her, and then she just shrugs off like nothing happened. You know, she
And then you
beats up
forget about
Titania in the
them.
courtroom, and nothing happens afterwards.
And then you forget about her.
You know,
It's true until she comes out, until she shows up later. You know, Titania in another episode.
Yeah. When she comes back, when she's trademarked the name, you're like, wait a minute, like, why did she bust into the courtroom? Why was she trying to attack someone?
Well, that's the problem with the very first. I think it all comes back to the first episode, because the first episode starts off with. I say because I've watched it twice, I can say it starts off with the courtroom scene.
Yeah,
whatever her name is, she barges into the courtroom, and I think she's such a non-event for me. I keep forgetting her name.
Yes,
Titania.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting her name because I'm like, you don't even leave that impression on me as such.
No.
And the thing is, it's nothing to do with the acting. I was saying this one, I got no issues with the actresses,
of course,
no issues with the acting, but your character, they don't leave an impression.
No.
So going back to the first episode, you have the courtroom scene, then she breaks the fourth wall, and then she goes, I'll tell you how this happened. And then you find out how it happened. And then we move on to the next episode. I can't even remember what the second episode was about. It's just, there's no relation. There's like no relation to what preceded it or even what's coming after. There's no setup anywhere.
Yeah, there isn't. Like the through line, I don't understand. There is none. But you know, some people do argue that that's the kind of the point. You know, it's just supposed to be kind of like a slice of life sort of thing.
Well, you say slice of life, but
Yeah.
slice of life is also shows like The Office and Friends,
Right.
and Cheers.
Frasier. I love Frasier.
Frasier.
You know, like that is slice of life stuff. That is situational comedy. But if you look at something like, you know, do you guys ever watch The Office? I don't know, Phil, if you have.
Yeah.
Have you, Nadine?
No.
If you think about season 2, episode 1 of The Office, the Dundies, right? Michael is hosting the Dundies Awards. He wants everyone to attend it at the Chili's. You know, people don't want to attend it. They're grumpy about attending it, and they're nervous about the types of awards that he's going to give because some people find his awards offensive or rude, right? And then we get to the Dundies, and it's a catastrophe. But then there's the moment where, you know, Michael is kind of ridiculed by some other people in the Chili's. And people start to feel bad for him, and they kind of realize what he's trying to do is give everyone a good time, and we should stop being so mean to him because he's actually trying to do a nice thing for us, right? Mixed in with that episode, you have Pam and Roy having some tension, and he leaves the awards to go have a better time somewhere else. She stays with Jim and gets super drunk, and then they have a little smooch, and that kind of sets up some stuff, right? 22 bloody minutes is all this is, and it accomplishes so much and sets everything up for the season, because you're like, okay, Jim likes Pam, he wants to get with her. The dynamics are all there.
Well,
right?
it's storytelling, isn't it? It's like the basis of storytelling. But it sets up. There's a setup, and there's inciting incidents, and there's obstacles. I mean, that's how storytelling works. But with She-Hulk, it's like they give us. They don't even actually show us the obstacles. They just show us the effects of dealing with the obstacle, but they don't show the setup that leads up to the obstacle.
No.
So we have unless they. How many episodes are left of She-Hulk? Is it?
Yeah,
2?
how many?
This week and next week.
Right.
Okay.
So unless they suddenly wrap everything up and tell us why Titania's after her, but because at the moment I don't know why she's chosen her, why she's such a villain. You know what I mean? There's a reason why Abomination is a villain, because he's Abomination when he was Abomination. There's a clear reason. Whereas Titania, I'm just I don't know. The only episode I think I liked was the one with the Immortal Man. He had all these women.
Oh, the Immortal Man.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind his little arc. That's like one little thing out of an episode. I just thought, yeah,
Yeah,
that was a little bit
it,
funny.
it was funny, but at the same time, it was sort of
What's the point?
ridiculous because it had nothing to do with She-Hulk.
But don't you find it fascinating? This is what I find fascinating. I find it fascinating that you can have a character like Immortal Man or Mr. Immortal, whatever he's called, and because no one actually knows why he's there or it hasn't been set up, when these episodes finish, the internet suddenly goes mad with, oh, he must be this, he must be that, he must. And you're like, no, it is none of these things. It's because you don't have. You're trying to make something fit and make sense out of this, so you come up with all these ridiculous theories.
I think it's also, I think the other problem is I do feel like modern audiences, and this is where I'm going to sound like an old man, and I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care.
I feel like modern audiences, they don't know how to pay attention anymore. And what I mean by that is we watch an episode of something, right? And no one. I actually had this discussion with a friend. We were talking about what was it? Thor.
Oh my God,
Thor Ragnarok. Thor. I haven't even fully seen Thor 4. I watched a little bit of it, and it was terrible. Of the new one, and it was terrible, and I couldn't do it. But
have you done a show about Thor and Love and Fun? Oh, you haven't done a show. About
we haven't. No.
I'll come back on that one if you want.
We can do 11 Thunder. We can do 11 Thunder.
It'd be very quick.
It would be. It was terrible. Done. No, we were talking about Ragnarok, and with Ragnarok, they were like, "Oh, well, this moment was funny. Well, this moment was funny. Well, this moment was funny." I was like, "Yeah, sure. These individual moments can be fun and can be funny and can be interesting, but if you think about it as a cohesive whole, it's terrible. It doesn't make sense. You're not following a solid plot line."
And I think the problem with and this is, and I think this is a solely Disney stroke Marvel Studios thing. If you're a comic book reader and you've read for Ragnarok, you know how that plays out, and then you go and watch a movie, and in your head you're thinking, well, if they've taken the title, it should be following what we've read.
You'd think.
You would think, and then you sit there, and as you said, oh, this was funny, that was funny, but this has got nothing to do with Ragnarok. And I think this is a problem that Disney and Marvel have. They'll take titles. Like, I've got no hope for Secret Wars. I'll watch it.
Oh gosh, no.
It has no relation to whatever we've read.
But
this is what Disney do. They just take, and I say Marvel, they just take the title, stick it on a product. Yeah. And with that, they're hoping they'll get us because, it must be related.
Yeah.
The new audience hasn't got a clue. So they'll be like, oh yeah, but it's funny. It's funny. I'll go for funny.
Yeah.
No.
And the thing is, I don't have a problem. It's just what I said. I have to be very strip myself back and be very objective about watching She-Hulk. I don't have if your intention is it for it to be a sitcom format, I haven't got a problem with that. If you're saying we're going to switch it and make it into a comedy, I've got no problem with that. But as I said to someone earlier today, you're missing the ingredient of comedy, because even comedy follows a clear structure. Correct. And that structure's not in place.
No, I mean, again, if you this is why I try to compare it to other comedies like The Office or Cheers or whatever. Yes, they, because someone on the internet was, I wonder if I saved it. They had said something about She-Hulk being, basically they were talking about, She-Hulk is meant to be, episodic. It's you don't look at shows like, Friends or Parks and Recreation and complain that there's no progressing plot. And I was like, well, no, hang on. There is a progressing plot. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end. There is a bit of drama or a dilemma or something that is happening in The Office or in these comedies that you follow for the whole time. Ross wants to go see his monkey. It's on the film set, right? There's something driving it, and it's seeing how they accomplish that in the course of that 22-minute, 24-minute episode.
But you also have character arc as well. And
say again.
You always have character arc.
You do.
As well. So even within these situational comedies, there's still their character arc and development.
Yeah.
Either takes place in the very small moments in the episode, or you join it all together. It will take place over the entire series.
Absolutely. I mean, again, if you go watch the great comedies of our time, which I think one of the most recent ones is The Office. I think if you go watch The Office, there was a huge transition of Michael Scott from season 1 to season 7 when he leaves.
Yeah.
He is a completely different person, and you see him and understand him in a completely different way than when you first meet him. Same with Dwight, same with Toby, same, things evolve over time, whereas and they will evolve in a short period of time. In one season they will evolve, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with She-Hulk, we're almost done. We've watched 7 episodes.
7
right?
episodes. Yeah.
And she has been stagnant. She hasn't changed or learnt or been tested at all.
No. And what I find it's not frustrating, it's interesting. Because I think I said it to you during the week, is that I've been reading back the comic.
Yes.
And I'd read the original She-Hulk where she's like savage She-Hulk. So the original Stan Lee one.
Yes.
Read that one. And so the story and her origin story remains the same. I read what one did I read? I think I read the 2021. So I read Immortal She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read the miniseries, the limited series that this is a different conversation altogether. This is like my problem with Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics, I have a big issue with Marvel Comics. But then they went and brought out the limited series of She-Hulk in 2022. And you can see how they completely changed her character also. So in the early She-Hulk, she was very sure of who she was as Jennifer, the lawyer, but also sure of who she was as She-Hulk. In Immortal She-Hulk, she's trying to understand who she is as Immortal She-Hulk because she's been through literally all this trauma. Right. And then the mini version, the limited series they brought out earlier this year, is basically what we're watching now. And I think this is Marvel's problem. They're also very inconsistent in their comic book series. It's probably why I'm a big DC fan. They make more sense. That's another conversation.
I mean, it's true. You've actually landed on an interesting point with Marvel that people have been complaining about for years, and that is, when Iron Man first came out and Captain America and all that kind of stuff, they were really trying to mine the older comics, the older stuff that stands the test of time and that people are really interested and invested in, right? Really, once you get to the 2005,
that's what my brother says.
Yeah,
I'll give him this prop today.
Once you get to that point, like the comics no longer have that sort of legendary kind of, I don't know, umph anymore. There is no, I don't know. There are no Dark Phoenix sagas. There are no Weapon X saga.
Yeah, and I think the problem is and this is when I found they just started rebooting things just for the sake of rebooting it. There was no point to it. Whereas if DC reboots a series, like they rebooted the New 52, but there's a clear reason why it's being rebooted because there's still a continuation of the thread.
Correct.
In the rebooted universe, whereas Marvel, that doesn't happen.
No.
And then reading the comics, the She-Hulk comic, it's frustrating. I'm like, you've made She-Hulk into this. She's insecure, and I think that's what bothers me about watching it. She's insecure as Jennifer, even though she's supposed to be this high-flying lawyer. She's in demand. She knows what she wants to do in her career, but she still has insecurities. And then those insecurities are still there as She-Hulk. Like She-Hulk shouldn't give a monkeys if someone doesn't call her back.
Exactly.
Night with them, and you've got her in grip session. Like, you've been ghosted.
Right. Who cares? Do you think that there is a little bit too much self-insertion
in She-Hulk?
Mm-hmm. And in Marvel Comics in general right now?
In terms of what? In
terms of the people who are writing the show, they're not writing the character, they're self-inserting themselves into the character.
I think it just goes back to what I said. I just think they have a tick box of how they feel. I suppose it is they're inserting themselves, how they feel the character will be acceptable to a fee-paying audience. That's the best way I can explain it. They're not making these characters for people who actually care about their character. No. It's all about how can we generate commercial wealth out of them.
Yes,
that's how I see it. Which is why, even with going back to the comics briefly, what I found with the Marvel comics is that they're now fitting their comic book characters to fit the movies.
Yes.
If that makes sense, which is even more frustrating. Which is why it does.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as well, like one thing that drove me nuts with the early bits of She-Hulk is the fact that she's meant to be the assistant to the DA. She's the assistant to the DA, and then some crony guy is like, "Are you sure you can handle the case?"
This is what I'm saying. Like,
and it makes me go, "Wait, clearly the people writing this show have zero understanding of the law and how that works."
No, well, I mean, I don't know if I read it somewhere. I think someone was taking issue with like the law, with the court scenes. And I'm like, I'm not going to take issue with it. I'm not going to say it's legally incorrect because it's once they transfer it to a comedy show, it's like watching Ally McBeal, like back in the day. There's some things that are just not going to be correct, but you just I will just roll with it. Yeah. But as I said, the two things don't tally. It's what we were saying earlier. You can't say she's the assistant DA and then she's getting upset. Not getting upset, but she's having some guy talk down to her and the colleague, and then she's getting upset because some guy hasn't called her back. Yeah, and I find that frustrating. Yes, like, she shouldn't care about making an impression at some old high school friend's wedding. Yes, she shouldn't care about what people think about her.
That particular wedding episode really solidified everything that I think is wrong with this show and why it's a complete and total disaster. And it's one scene where she walks up as She-Hulk in her outfit, looking all, curvy and She-Hulky. Then the bride is like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you came like that. I don't want you to be like that. Please go back to not being, go back to being Jen." But why is her bridesmaid's dress She-Hulk sized?
Didn't the fashion designer guy?
No,
I don't know if the fashion was this before or after the fashion designer guy.
It's in the mode, basically.
The designer made the dress.
Well, he wasn't making bridesmaid dresses,
but he didn't make the bridesmaid's dress.
I just assumed he did, but okay.
No, that's why would he do that?
He's only made her 2 outfits,
one of which we've never
seen.
He's
made her I'm assuming it's a courtroom outfit. And then he's made her the second outfit, which I said to my brother today, if it's not the classic purple and white leotard, whatever it is, then I'm completely out, because that's the only reason why you keep it hidden for so long.
Oh, yeah.
What drives me nuts about Marvel is that right there is it did irk me a little bit with the very first season of Daredevil. It's like just get to the stupid red suit. Just get to it.
Just get to the red suit.
Yeah, but Daredevil was good.
Daredevil was great. Daredevil was great. I have nothing bad really to say about Daredevil. But
I know you wanted to see the suit, because that's what you have in your head.
Yeah, you're like, get to the suit. This is a pointless kind of tease because we know who he is. Just get to the suit. But then you have something like Scarlet Witch, right? Wanda. Yeah. And the big reveal of WandaVision is that she's Scarlet Witch.
She's now Scarlet Witch.
And it's like, but we've only known that for the past 70 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think that's a Marvel. They didn't have to write.
Oh, exactly.
They don't have to write.
They think their big reveal is showing you the character in their suit. And it's like, that is the thing you do. Like, your first act is, Spider-Man 1. First act, no suit. Act 2, Spider-Man finally has a suit and he's Spider-Man.
Even in like the original, like the Tobey Maguires and the Andrew Garfield, you always, you have the whole moment of like, he even makes a suit and you're like, this is like, your little hoodie sort of thing. And then he has his suit. Yeah. You have all that, you have all the setup. I don't even need
Iron Man.
Yeah, Iron Man. All of them. Like, I don't need to see the purple and white, but you're just making all these little inferences, and then you build it up to nothing. Like the whole Daredevil.
Yeah.
Yes.
People getting upset I don't know why they're getting upset, because I'm just sitting back like, for you. Like, we haven't seen Daredevil yet. I'm like, well, what exactly? I'm quite happy not to see Daredevil.
I agree, but I think the reason people are annoyed
were people annoyed?
It's
Yeah.
so, yeah, people are annoyed
Okay.
because in the wedding episode or the pre-wedding episode, they tease Daredevil with the mask. They show the mask inside of a box, right?
The
That's the
outdated mask.
say again,
The outdated mask. He went
right?
yellow and red, and then he goes to red. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no. So they teased the mask, but prior to that, when the show was coming out, they had a bunch of stills and artwork that was teasing Daredevil, specifically his cameo in the show.
I think
Right?
I think he might have even been in the teaser or the trailer. Like,
Oh,
we-
maybe. I think he
she's
was.
standing outside. No, it's in the dark, and you
Yes.
see the yellow and.
Yes. So, they really built up Daredevil being in this show. So I understand why some people are watching this being like, I've been sticking this out for 7 bloody episodes and they're terrible. And the one person I want to see, and I think that is telling. People are mad because the one person they want to see isn't She-Hulk, it's Daredevil. Because She-Hulk isn't winning people over. Her character isn't interesting enough to be like, oh, Daredevil's coming, but I'm actually interested in what Jen Walters is doing. You're not, because she's nothing to her. And I think that's why people are mad, because it's been a tease, it's not happened, but then people are trying to say that the show is trolling those people, and that's why the show is clever. And I'm like, the show is not that clever.
It's not that clever. I don't. If their intention is to troll me, I'm not enjoying being trolled. I mean, the way I see it, I'm like, I like Daredevil. I like Daredevil. Like Daredevil's hallway scenes in the seasons are epic, right?
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, I don't even really want Disney touching Daredevil if they're just going to completely tone all of that down. Because there's a reason why Daredevil and Punisher worked, because they just went. I binged Daredevil like in a night. Yeah. I stayed up all night watching it.
Yeah.
And then this is when it goes back to Jen's origin story. And like, if you're gonna link her with Daredevil, the fact that Daredevil is so, I'll say in the Netflix is so dark. If the She-Hulk episode 1 had done the original origin of her being shot by these gangsters, it's a hit. That kind of, to me, ties in with the whole Daredevil ethos of this underground sort of thing. So that would work for me.
Totally.
And you could have made She-Hulk that way. But if you're going to now how are you going to inject Daredevil into this comedic, but it's not even work that well?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think from what we're hearing, I mean, they've said it that Born Again is a new season. It's a new season 1. I won't be surprised. I think the way you need to look at Daredevil now is seasons 1 to 3 are somewhere out there in the multiverse. Born Again is going to be another version of Daredevil in the MCU version that we just not seen yet.
I have no problem. See, as a DC fan, I have no issue with multiverses.
Same.
And I think if you understand how multiverses work, then having this is Daredevil Reborn, then that works for you. But you need to still do it well.
Yes.
And the problem is, they're not going to do it well. It doesn't matter how they choose to portray this new Daredevil. Then I won't be invested.
No.
I mean, and how are they going to appease people? And probably like, have him walk into a courtroom in episode 8 or 9. But you're like, well, what's the point? You showed us his helmet. There's nothing again setting up for that.
No.
What are you going to do? Bring down the spaceship again?
Right.
The spaceship.
I mean, that's the thing. All of these things that have been set up, like, who are the ones who are trying to get her blood? What is the point of the spaceship? What is the point of Titania? But again, if Jen was being proactive, if she was a proactive character who was like, I want to find out why these goons attacked me. I want to find out why Titania is doing this stuff. I want if she was proactively doing stuff. She's nothing but a reactive. She's nothing but a reactive blob. She just reacts to everything that happens to her, and it's like, she has no agency, and I think that's what bugs me. It's like you think of really cool, protagonists, like cool lady protagonist, like Jessica Jones. She was proactive as heck. She's not sitting around waiting for something to happen.
And the thing is, you could believe in a storyline of Jen trying to work out one. Okay, even if she's not invested in, Bruce Banner's off doing Bruce Banner, working out what's going on. Sure. Even if she leaves that to him, she would still, and this will be the lawyer side of it as well, because as the lawyer, you're always You're always trying to work out what's going on. Because that's your job. What's going on? And there's not even a lawyer brain even kicking in, but like, well, what, why were these people waiting for me? Why did they try and stab me? Why is this guy who attacked me 2 episodes ago now in group?
Why did she not question him in that episode?
She holds him up she turns into Hulk, she holds him up by the neck, and you're like, well, and then she's moaning about the boyfriend. It's just like,
it made no sense.
No, and you said if she had agency, she would follow that through. And so you would be invested. So when they do have the little sneaks, the little Easter eggs of, we want her blood, or I didn't even notice it, my brother pointed it out, the Asgardian technology they're using. If you see all those bits, then you're like, oh, okay, like they're carefully lining it up, but they're not even carefully lining anything up. No. It's just, here's 30 minutes. Well, I'm just going to call it, it's 20 minutes of a show. If you entertain, you entertained. You're going to like it. The strict Marvel fans, who I'm probably going to offend, they'll like anything with an MCU stamp on it.
That's the problem.
They'll watch it regardless. They've already said to me that it's great storytelling and great dialogue. And
whoa, okay, so who?
And they said, and I know you and I might differ on it because I enjoyed Snyder Cut of Justice League.
Okay.
I was saying it's better storytelling than Snyder Cut. I'm like, no, because Justice League has a clear. You may not like it, but there's a clear story arc in Justice League. You can't tell me Hulk's better.
No, yes, my opinion of the Snyder Cut is not high. My opinion of Zack Snyder's general movies is not very high. The Snyder Cut compared to what Joss Whedon did is much better.
The Justice Cut.
The Justice Cut is terrible. But the Snyder Cut really was much, much better. It was more coherent, bloated, yes, but coherent, more coherent.
This is what you want, coherent and consistency.
Yeah, and the characters were at least consistent as well, right? And so you buy into it, even if you're not fully enjoying it, and you're kind of whatever. But yeah, there's no way for someone to say that. I question someone's. I don't know. I question that individual in general, who would say that She-Hulk is better written than.
I thought I'd misread. When I read it, I was like, better storytelling than what? I thought, no.
Then what?
No.
Yeah.
No. This is the problem. This is also as far I said before. It's like, I got no problem with that. Their actors don't bother me. Like, I'm happy to see Tim Roth because Tim Roth is an epic actor, but it's.
But they have made an abomination of the abomination.
How long were you waiting to say that?
It literally just came to me, but I'm almost positive I'm not the first person to have said that.
Like, I don't mind him. I've had to turn around because I've had to change, and this is what's happened to me. But if you want to make that his storyline, fine. But I said you can do all these things, but there still needs to be consistency in that with that main character of She-Hulk.
Wouldn't it have been more interesting? Take Hulk out of the equation. Hulk is off in space doing spacey things. Wouldn't it have been a bit more interesting if her sidekick was a reformed abomination?
Ooh. Instead of that woman, the paralegal.
Well, the paralegal's we don't even know her name.
Well, apparently she's supposed to be. This is all internet theory. She's supposed to be somebody.
Course.
I can't remember who she's. This is really bad. I can't remember who she's supposed to be.
I saw something where they she was wearing some sort of witchy starry thing and looking at the camera, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Agatha did the same thing. It's I don't care.
I don't like that. That's a replacement.
She-Hulk's never had. She's never had a sidekick. She's always been her.
Yes, but I just mean if there's to kind of give something a through line, use him or something to sort of have someone to bounce off of. I think she doesn't have anyone interesting to bounce off of, on top of also not being a good character.
Well, she doesn't have. She doesn't have Bruce.
Sure. And
really, I'm thinking back to the comics and stuff. She would always. That was always her anchor in a sense. She would always come back to Bruce, because obviously the thing that intrigues Bruce about the whole Hulk transformation with his cousin is that she's still Jen.
She can control. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Still change, she changes form, but she's still herself. Where
Yes.
Banner and Hulk are clearly two individuals inhabiting this one body. So she doesn't have anyone to bounce off. There's no anchor. The people she have around her are just the people in the office, and you don't know what's. I don't know the point to them. And there's no, as yet, the threat is still very quiet.
Yes.
We know there's something, but we don't know really what it is. And we're 7 episodes in now.
We got 2 episodes left. We don't know what we're heading towards, which is to me unacceptable. If I was in charge of this show, if I was putting money into this show and I was looking at this stuff, I would be like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like,
they have fans.
They have fans.
But they didn't have fans before the show came out. I'm talking from on a production level. Like, if you were in the early stages of production and these scripts are coming in, why is there no one saying these scripts are terrible? This is not good storytelling. Like, I think what's happened with Marvel is they have become like Disney because they are Disney. They are so big that they have yet to really
too big to fail. Yeah.
But also, I think it's arrogance that comes with that.
Yeah,
when you're that big.
Yeah,
and you said you're too big to fail. So if you're too big to fail, there's no risk.
Yes.
Whereas the opposite, because DC's predicament is that everything they seem to do, there's like a risk. There's a risk to it, which is why they put out that pile of shit that was Justice League. Because they thought, oh, if we make it like Marvel, then it's gonna work. But my argument is, Marvel's template is for Marvel. DC does not have to follow. It doesn't have to. Marvel's template. DC can do what they want. I mean, they do what they want in their comics. You look at their animated movies, and they're above everything else. They can do what they want. You don't have to fit this template. And even the template that Marvel has doesn't even now work for them because it's I think it comes back to, which is also what She-Hulk's problem is that, all the Marvel movies, there's been clear phases, and we know what the point of each phase was. Phase 1 was leading up to Thanos. I can't remember what phase 2 was about now, but you don't know there's a clear point to it.
Yeah.
Phase 4, I don't know why phase 4 is here.
Like, no one does.
Nothing fits into phase 4. It's like bits and pieces. Take a bit here, put it there, take another bit here, and put it there.
Yeah.
There's no thread within phase 4.
No.
So phase 4 is going to end, and they'll say, "Oh, if it's leading up to Secret Wars, is it?
Is it? Yeah. Is it? Really? No. No. It's no. I think that has been one of the biggest drawbacks for phase 4, is the fact that Marvel, they sort of wrote themselves into a corner by being so interconnected and being so phase driven, where everything is going towards the thing, that I think now, 30 million films and TV shows later, that's what people come to expect.
Except Inhumans. Inhumans is rubbish.
Oh.
There's a reason no one talks about Inhumans. And
I keep forgetting that exists. Yeah.
I was only reminded of it the other day. It came up on something. I was like, oh, they were talking about CGI. That's where it came up. They were talking about CGI.
With the bulldog? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But I know, again, I agree. I mean, Loki clearly set up Kang, and they have no idea what they're doing with Kang. At least at the time that Loki was being written and shot, they had no idea what they were doing. Also, no idea when these Winter Falcon, Soldier, and they had no idea what was going to happen. They were just throwing as much crap on Disney Plus as they can because Disney Plus needed
content. Yeah, they needed content.
And I think it was Chief Brody Rules said a while ago, a couple days ago, so not really a while ago, that he doesn't even view any of this stuff as TV shows. They're not real shows. It's just content for subscribers. And I think...
No, I think he might have a point.
I think he does.
It even extends to the movie, because I watched Doctor Strange. I loved and it took me a while to get into the first Doctor Strange movie, because I was like, the animated movie was much better than the movie.
Okay.
And then I watched it again, and I was like, actually, no, I have a new appreciation for Doctor Strange after I watched Infinity War.
Okay.
So I really like Strange.
I'm kind of in the same camp there, yeah.
Yeah, and then I watched Multiverse of Madness, and I was like, this isn't even a Doctor Strange movie. this seems to me like this
It's
is like
America Chavez movie.
It's a wonder movie. So I think
Mm-hmm.
the same thing where your friend was saying that it's just content. This for Disney. It extends to the movies as well. It extends to the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
It definitely extends to Love and Thunder because I watched that. I didn't even go to cinema. I thought I'll just wait for it to come on Disney Plus, and it came on Disney Plus so quickly.
I wonder why.
I watched it and I just thought, Lord, I watched it and that's all I will say. That's all I will say about it. Yeah, and then what else has come out in the movies? I think that's it.
I think that's
Spider-Man
it.
No Way Home. Yeah.
The thing is, Spider-Man No Way Home is the only thing that was decent.
Yeah, and I watched Eternals. And to be fair, I'm like, I didn't mind Eternals.
Did you not?
It was...
No, I was like, it was different and I could see a point to it. It wasn't as bad as... I think that's the problem as well.
Yeah.
People, it's got a Marvel stamp that they want it to be a certain way. Yeah. And Eternals did not fit that template. And it's like their brains... As Lex Luthor was saying, man, it's too much for your little brain. So they couldn't cope with it.
I do. I think you're right. I think the fact that Marvel has such a cemented template, and that and they're quite relentless about it. It now is at the point where breaking that mold is going to be very tricky. And I think Eternals, when it was being promoted, had such lofty expectations. It just kind of it felt like they were trying to be really self-important with the marketing of it and stuff like that. That I think that put people off because they were like, what is this nonsense? You're Marvel. You're just meant to be yeah. Which has me very nervous for Deadpool. I mean, I love Deadpool 1 and 2. I am terrified what Deadpool 3 under Disney Marvel is going to look like, even if Hugh Jackman is back. I love this idea. Everyone has wanted Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine in a Deadpool movie.
It's hard. It's hard, and I think it's hard and it's disappointing because I think when you're just, I say us, my comic book fans, I've bought my collection of comic books, my favorite one. I said I'm not just my friends and family would be like I'm DC biased, maybe to a point, but I didn't grow up on DC. I didn't start with DC. I started with Marvel. You see my comic book collection. That's how it started off with. So it's disappointing when you're watching these these characters who you grew up with and you do love and you enjoy, and then you're seeing this incarnation of them. You're just like, this is not how they should be. And it's like they're not respecting their characters.
Think that's when I think about the comic book movies that I love the most, it is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, the original X-Men movies. Not everyone likes
the movies. I love them. I was frustrated with the X-Men movies.
I love them. X-Men 2 is one of the best comic book movies ever made.
I think it had the best opening. With
it's incredible. It's incredible.
I always just felt like Brian. He just didn't go. I always felt like he held back.
There were things he held back on that I think I would have liked to have seen. I think Rogue was always held back. I think Storm was always held back. I have plenty of criticism on the X-Men movies, but I think on the whole, it was one of those things where there was blatant respect for the source material, and they worked. The first two movies particularly worked really hard to be X-Men movies, adaptations of the X-Men, not adaptations of the comic books, but an adaptation of the X-Men. Mm-hmm. And you saw Wolverine, Xavier, Cyclops, Jean, and you felt like you were really seeing those characters.
Yeah. The casting was. I have my issue with the Storm casting, but the rest of the casting was spot on.
I think we all kind of do. Yeah.
Yeah, Halle Berry. As much as I love Halle Berry, she was probably not the best fit for Storm. Nor was that bad accent in the first film.
Oof.
So
I've forgotten about that. You just you had that excitement.
You did
for the movies, and I don't get excited about MCU movies. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to see Black Adam, because someone asked me the other day, what are you more excited to see? Black Adam, Black Adam or Black Panther? I think Black Panther comes out in November.
Yes.
Black Adam's out or this month. I'm like, I want to see Black Adam. I want to see Hawkman. I want to see Dr. Fate. I want to see all of those. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm excited for.
Yes.
But yeah, Marvel doesn't leave me. I wasn't excited to see She-Hulk when I should have been excited to see She-Hulk.
We all should have been. Absolutely. I mean, it's a travesty that this character is like such a dud, because what a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I just feel frustrated because when it comes to the writing aspect, there are so many shows, so many films now that their writing is not up to scratch, and
No, it's not.
I
No.
can't put my finger on why. I'm like, is it the writers that are bad? Are we just now hiring really bad
It's
writers?
because it's done by committee.
And that.
Do you think
Could
that
it
is
be that?
it?
Yeah.
It's the writers' room. It's like, this is what we have. This is
Yeah.
what we want to do, and it has to fit that. Like, no deviation
Yeah.
from that. So you're not allowed, in a sense, which is an odd thing to say because you're writing film, movies, whatever.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to be creative. And I
Yeah.
think that's the problem.
Yeah.
In
And
an odd
again,
way.
I mean, this is literally why I have much more affection for X-Men and Spider-Man, because, Raimi Spider-Man and Bryan Singer's X-Men, light years more creative than everything we're getting right now.
I think it's because they took chances, and this is the problem. And no one's taking chances with the Marvel stuff. Like, no one's taking chances with She-Hulk as an opportunity. So you could have, if you wanted to make it a comedy, fine, make it a comedy. But there's things you can do with that. If you want it to be serious, you could easily have made it serious. Like Winter Soldier and Falcon was serious. It had very serious themes in it.
Yeah.
WandaVision, a bit confused. Loki, I said, I enjoyed Loki for what it is. I can't remember what else. I haven't watched Miss Marvel yet, and I haven't watched Hawkeye. I feel like I'm missing another one.
Yeah. Well, no. I think the only one you're missing is, you watched it though. It was Moon Knight.
Oh yeah, Moon Knight. Yeah, I watched Moon Knight.
But
even that had its frustrations. But
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I have the rest of them. I haven't really given them the time of day because I'm not interested. I'm not interested in Miss Marvel. I'm not interested in Falcon and Winter Soldier and fake Captain America in it. The guy, what's the guy's name? The blonde-haired guy who's, whatever his name is. The evil Captain America who's in it. I'm not interested in it.
I can't remember what his name is now.
Yeah, there wasn't anything about that stuff that hooked me.
What would make you interested? What would make you excited, do you think? I mean, we can always say if Disney sold.
If Disney sold out Marvel to something else, it's true.
I do. I think, yeah. I mean, I'm interested in Deadpool. I am excited in Deadpool 3, but I'm also worried.
Yeah.
Secret Wars, the one they've got, I think it's a series. Because
Secret Wars.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson, because Nick Fury's back in there, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
They got the trailer for that. I'm sure they did.
They did. No, not excited about that either. I don't know. I really think Marvel after Endgame would have made way more sense to have taken a break, to just hit pause, reboot your franchise from another perspective. I think loads of people
take time on it.
Take
time on it. Take time on it, because I think it's true, like the whole thing working in committee and everything. But I also think that there may be an issue where they're like, we need this at this point so we can start producing it because we need content. We need more. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows. We have to do them. Here you go. You write it. You can't. You only have so much time to actually just write. Deliver a draft. And it's like you don't have time to develop it. I think one of the biggest things.
That's exactly what it is. It's like, I finished like book 3 a couple of weeks back, but that's my first draft, and you need to get it back, and someone needs to edit it and look at the structure of it and do all that stuff. And it's like they just delivered the first draft.
That's kind of how it feels.
I mean, oh god, yeah. I mean, there's so much.
Secret Invasion. Sorry, not Secret Wars.
Yeah, Secret Invasion. Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. That's one of the that is the big thing is everything does feel first drafty. There's nothing that feels like, oh, this has been refined. This has been taken to the next level after serious edits. I don't think they do that. I think they literally are. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing sort of the Quantum of Solace thing where they're just filming without a script half the time.
I mean, considering how much stuff that they're producing. I mean, come on, like what was last year, for example, we had Loki, we had Falcon Winter Soldier, we had
WandaVision.
WandaVision. Was that last year? Whoa,
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, and
I
like
think that was
there's
wasn't that the first series to
yeah,
start it off?
that's right,
Yeah,
that's
it
right,
was.
that's right. And then there was what movies were there? Spider-Man and
What,
you know
Yeah,
last year?
Spider-Man, Thor, Eternals. Da, da, da,
yeah,
da, da.
Eternals was out last year and stuff. So I feel like just looking at how much stuff that they're doing, it's no wonder that they're, the probably if you looked at the, production pipeline, there's like, and I think this is kind of how it is now with more tentpole big movies where the pre-production or development phase just keeps getting smaller and smaller, and then, the post-production phase gets bigger, and they're
Yeah,
just kind of shipping that off really fast and not prioritizing, the
If
most
the,
important part.
yeah, if the post production stage was bigger, then the CGI would be better.
That too. That
The
too. That too.
CGI, it's
Did you
poor.
hear what they said? Did you hear what they said? They said that they wanted more Jen Walter scenes so that they didn't have to do more She-Hulk, which is why
Mm,
there's so much Jen Walter in this because they does this doing this the CG is too much.
But why do it at all then?
Say again.
Why do She-Hulk at all?
Well,
Like
exactly.
unless you've got
that's a good.
a six
Yeah.
foot five woman who you
The
got,
thing is,
like the old days with the original
With Lou
Incredible Hulk.
Ferrigno.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had the little guy, and then he was transformed. Unless you're gonna do
Yeah.
that, why you can't? It
they do have that. There is an actress who is playing
Isn't that
She-Hulk who is that tall.
so if I'm not I'm having the exact same response when a client gives me nonsense
Mm.
for their defense. Like you're talking shit. You're talking shit. Like quite frankly, you can't be saying to me, "Oh, we wanted to have more Jen Waters." That's why you're like, no. In that case, don't have She-Hulk the movie. Just have She-Hulk come in any of the Hulk centered movies and just have her come in as a side character.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do if you want to have
Yeah.
more. That's as my mum would say, that's a very poor excuse.
No, no,
Very
yeah,
poor
no, it
excuse.
absolutely is.
No,
When I-
absolutely.
When I saw that, I read that, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like that, on top of the fact that the writers of this show have said that they do not know how to write legal scenes, which is why they don't put them in the show.
But why call it attorney at law?
Exactly.
It's like they're trying to explain their behavior or their lack their lack of what the failure to do something. Oh, we don't know much about law, so we're not writing that many court scenes. Well, don't call it attorney at law. Just call it She-Hulk.
Exactly.
Oh, we want to focus more on Jen. Well, don't call it She-Hulk.
Right.
I mean, and no, I'm not going. Their CGI is rubbish in She-Hulk. It's rubbish in even in Love and Thunder. I wasn't that impressed with the CGI.
Oh
in it.
my gosh, it was terrible. The 15 minutes or so that I watched of it, I was the opening scene where Christian Bale is talking to that god,
Yeah. I'm only laughing because I'm like, yeah.
and it's like when he stands up like he's like a rubbery CGI person. He doesn't stand up like a human stands up.
Even Multiverse of God, I just feel like I'm just slagging off all the Marvel movies now. But even like Multiverse of Madness and the CGI in there wasn't.
Oh, that wasn't good.
It's
Yeah.
I
Thing
I
is,
don't understand it.
I know people. I've known people who have worked at various effects houses that have been working on Marvel movies, and the big problem is yes, those people are completely overworked and very much underpaid, and like Phil was saying, this post production time,
Like just the production time for the entire project. Yeah.
It's not enough for any of it now. Because they're not giving themselves enough time with the writing in that stage. They're not giving enough time with this, which is why when you see the credits, it's just this sea of animators,
There's so many of them.
who are being worked to the bone,
And that's that's just one of their jobs, because like maybe a group of them is doing one, two, three, four scenes for whatever She-Hulk, for example, and they're also doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of completely different movies, because that's how these computer graphics, like visual effects houses operate now. Is they they grab as many projects as they can, and they don't pay their staff too much for the wonderful work that they do, and then they have to crank it out as fast as possible. And so so many of those special effects houses just have so many projects that they can't handle, but they kind of force the production pipeline to continue because those are the high paying shots to do.
Yeah. But Disney knew they had a problem with the CGI. 'Cause I remember when they released either the first teaser or there must be in the teaser, and everyone's like, this CGI is awful. And they went, oh no, well this was just like a normal excuse. This was just like the first draft, the rush.
Always.
We just wanted to get something out there for whatever Comic-Con it was. And then they released the final trailer. You're like, well, it's a little bit better, but it ain't that much better. It's like I just switched the filter on the thing, and then you watch the series, and you're just like, it wasn't even good for the first episode. It wasn't even like we put our money in the first episode, and then it might get a little bit shitty along the way.
Right? Yeah.
Just consistently.
Nope. She looks like a Grand Theft Auto character walking around.
Oh man,
it's terrible. And I think as well, thinking about the most recent episode that came out where nothing happened, where she literally, again, like we've said, she has the guy who was involved in the attack and she does nothing with him. But on top of that, the first half of that episode is front loaded with montages. Like you have the dating montage where she's dating the guy. And I'm like, hold on, why are we seeing their dates through montage? Why are we not seeing them in conversation? Show us, their relationship building, why she's beginning to like him. Doing it through montage is cheap.
Because I have to remind myself it was the same guy she met at the wedding.
Yeah,
and that's the setup. It's only when you talk things through, you're like, okay, yeah, right. They've set up, so something's not right there. But it's like, okay, but that hasn't really been developed. And if you say just doing a series of montages, it's not. It's like you're cheating us.
Yes.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, because you have that montage followed by the next montage of her waiting around for him to text her.
I thought that was gonna be like a joke. I thought it was gonna be some kind of a parody of montages. You know what I mean? Like they're making fun of it. No, it wasn't.
You don't even break the fourth wall in that bit. In that bit, you'd be like, break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Well, then it reminded me of, and like, don't, as much as I like, I write what I write and I watch what I want and I read what I read, I don't mind a really bad TV movie, like like those Hallmark, like rom-com movies.
I can't believe it.
I will watch one of those, but that's what that episode reminded me of. It was like the opening of a really bad Hallmark Christmas romance sort of.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Switched again.
But I was like, I've got to go back to my small town and meet, my original love. That's what it reminded me. This is what happened. This is why I moved away. But it wasn't. It wasn't even. I was like, it wasn't even good. If it was a parody of that, it wasn't even like a good parody. It was because you said you then get to the retreat. Those two guys, the matador and the ball guy, destroy her car, and then she's stuck there. And it's just she has
nothing. Yeah, and nothing comes of that. Like she gets it towed, goes back, and is like, "Great, I had a nice time, and thank you very much." And like, I don't. What was the episode about exactly? Like,
it was Sunday. I remember that she gave up her job. She gave up her Sunday because the guy said to her, which didn't make any sense. I'm like, okay, well, why is this tag not working? And she's now doesn't get any. Is got no Wi-Fi. She's got no signal. But now you've just discovered that his tag is not working.
Mm.
This is my criminal brain working. I'm that's connecting to a GPS thing like this. This whole setup doesn't even work. It doesn't even work.
The other montage, looking for Wi-Fi montage. 3 montages in this stupid episode.
Movie. That's a Hallmark
movie.
It
is a Hallmark movie now that you mention it.
She goes back to the small town and they got no Wi-Fi because they're still stuck in.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I thought that it was like, this is my problem. I don't know why I give things that I watch way too much credit, because I'm always accepting what they're presenting me because I'm expecting some kind of a payoff, some kind of a, And then I think, I don't know, Luke, because we've talked about enough movies where you might know that I just kind of I forgive movies a little too easily, maybe when it comes down to that, because like I
Like I've just
completely agree
upset,
with.
upset
Sorry.
Phil. I feel like I've just upset Phil. Like I've just
No, no,
broken
no,
it.
no, 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 no. I'm fine. But it's like but I am upset because I just don't. You're pointing out more things that is so wrong with my experience watching this movie. Yeah,
Show.
show. And no, like what I wanted to say was the where was I? What was I saying?
We were talking about the montage and the Wi-Fi and
Yeah. And it's like because I kind of want to like it, but it's difficult.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, there's nothing
because
to like.
I feel the same. It's like I said when I sat down to watch it the very first time. I said I'm gonna sit down and watch it with a very open mind. I'll take all my everything kind of. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
put it in a box and shut that box. So I'm just gonna watch it like a normal person.
Yeah.
like a
And then
normal person.
I couldn't even enjoy it
Yeah.
as a normal person because even if you're not a comic book fan, as an example of storytelling and character development, it fails on both
It
of
does.
those.
It completely does.
Which is a problem. Like you can forgive, you can. There's so many like them CW series like The Flash. You know, like I'll watch it, but I'm invested. You know, the CGI might be terrible in it for certain episodes, but I'm like, it does what it's supposed to do.
But it works.
It works.
Okay.
And this
I've-
doesn't. She-Hulk doesn't. And it's disappointing. And people be, oh, because you don't, because you like DC, you don't like Marvel. Just like it's like no, it's nothing to do with that. And the thing is, you want it to work.
Yes.
The movie's like I was rooting for you, and you just disappointed me.
I agree. Actually, you made a really good point because we've been watching Superman. Is it Superman and Lois or Lois and Superman? Whatever the news.
Lois is good.
Yeah, that is surprisingly decent. I'm gonna say decent. The CGI at times is very questionable, but I have found myself thoroughly enjoying the character stuff. Clark and Lois dealing with their two kids in Smallville, dealing with it's kind of there's a lot of endearing things about that particular show that keeps me wanting to watch more and be invested in it. But again, every episode there is a sense of progression, there is a sense of kind of plot and movements and character growth going on, which is just completely non-existent in She-Hulk. And this is what I keep coming back to. I can't understand why. I don't understand why someone is sitting there writing these scripts where nothing happens.
Where nothing happens. How can you do this to yourself when you're reading it?
You can have episodes where nothing happens, but even in the nothing happens episodes, something still is happening. If that makes
That's the thing, yeah.
And there's
like,
nothing. This whole and I said I couldn't even. Someone goes, "Oh, it was just a filler episode." I don't know if it was this episode or last week. But I'm like,
they're all
no, even a filler episode. The point of a filler episode is that there's something happening around it.
Right?
To feel. And
Like,
there's you can't call it a filler episode.
Think about that episode of Friends where they are all getting ready to leave to go to one of Ross's events. The whole episode takes place in Monica's apartment, and it's just the 20 minutes of them needing to get ready and Ross freaking out because everyone isn't getting ready fast enough.
Yeah.
Like, that is the episode. That is it. It's all that happens is Ross is freaking out while everyone else is just taking their time not getting ready. Like, nothing happens.
But there's stuff happening.
Yeah, the plot is Ross needs everyone to get their act together so they can get out the door to get to his event, and the drama is no one is doing that.
Yeah.
And you're on board with it. And this is where, again, She-Hulk doesn't have any of that. These, they might set up a case like the man who can't, the really old, the guy who can't die, whatever his name was.
I only liked it when all the women turned up and they were like, "You told me this and you told me that." That's the only time I think I've laughed.
Yeah, same. I got a couple of laughs with him as well. And but again, you have all these moments where like they set that up, or that they set up the trademark stuff, which can explain to me why someone who's the assistant to the DA doesn't understand how trademark
It
works.
wasn't even that. What I found, and I only realised this because I'd watched episode 1 again. She has this whole thing about, oh, it's, you know, she didn't want it to be her name. That was the whole point of that trademark episode.
Yeah.
But in episode 1, she clearly says, you know, I'm She-Hulk.
Yes.
So she states who she is. So she, in a sense, I'm like, she's owned her name. So fast forward, whatever, 3-4 episodes later, and she's like, I didn't even want the name. Some guy called me She-Hulk. You're like, but that kind of is the complete opposite of what you said in episode 1.
They always do that.
Yeah.
I'm just so annoying.
Luke, I'm going to need therapy after this. This is supposed to help me.
See, this is my therapy.
This is my therapy. I have lots of comics to get through. I'm just going to get through those and just read proper stories.
I know. I mean,
proper stories. Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I think it's you know, I go and I cleanse my palate by you know, reading and watching good stuff, but then I come back to this because I don't know. I just want to hate watch something. I guess no, I don't know.
I said it the other day. People thought I was joking. It's like I watched I finished watching like the 2nd season of Stargirl, and I'm like, I thoroughly enjoyed Stargirl, and I was like, Stargirl's much better than She-Hulk. I'm like, because it goes back to what we're saying. There's something set up from the very beginning, even though each episode may not revolve around that, but there's a clear setup, and you know eventually where it's going to go. And if you know, you have the cliche big battle at the end, but you know it's all been leading up to that. I don't know if there's a big battle here. I said to him, if Galactus turned up and Silver Surfer, I wouldn't be surprised because everyone just turns up.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, I suspect we won't get. I suspect we won't get Daredevil till the final episode. I think he's being kept for the finale.
Do you think we're going to see the leader? This is what I was discussing with my brother.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh wow.
It's just someone else who says, "Oh, it's leading up to the lead," and you're like, "Is it? It's well, yeah." Oh, well.
I mean, they got Tim Roth back.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, he's meant to. The actor is coming back. I just don't remember where he's coming back at.
Has to be this.
This is what even annoys me even more, because like all of those characters are from the first, I'll say the second technically, Hulk movie with Edward Norton, which is the better one. He's just acting like he just.
Yeah. I think
and he was a much better Banner and a much better Hulk, if you ask me. But
who?
Edward Norton.
Norton. I agree. Norton was great. That was ditching him was such a bad idea.
I believed him when he said, you know, I'm angry all the time and I'm just controlling. I'm like, I believe you. And he had the little O's, not the little O, you know, like the 1980s.
The
Hulk. Yeah, he had that whole like. You can see like he's got the weight on him. Mark Ruffalo never looked like he had the weight on his shoulders.
No,
when he's Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I think he was pretty good when he started in the Avengers, but I think that afterwards it just you don't really.
Mark was good in the Avengers only. The very first that was it. After that, but his role in the Avengers is very, very small. You know, but again, we think about it. It's like Avengers 1, Iron Man 1, Captain America 1-ish. You know, there's a lot of really good, solid writing there. But if you think about it, all of those films were coming out like 2 years apart, or something like that. I think
it was like a year apart. I think
it was a year.
Yeah.
Well, it was Iron Man came out in 2008. Iron Man 2 was in 2008.
No. Iron Man 2 was 2010. That's
2010.
2000, and 2008 was Hulk and Iron Man 1, and then 2009 was nothing because Disney bought him.
Each character solo movie, there was a clear.
So there was at least like a good 2 years worth of prep before they came out.
And then
go on.
They started getting silly with it.
Well, yeah. So you see the road to the Avengers. Like, if I don't like the first Thor film, I don't really like any of the fourth Thor films that much.
Yeah, I didn't mind the first Thor film. I liked it.
Yeah,
I went
watching them again
a couple years ago.
After you watched Love and Thunder, you have a new appreciation.
Ha! Ooh, I'm so sorry. Sorry
true.
about that. That was a laugh.
It's
fine.
You do. You're like, this is because you've gone from Kenneth Branagh to what's his name?
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, him. He's no. I mean, I went back and I rewatched Thor several years ago after Ragnarok, and I was like, wow, this film is basic, but it's much better.
Yeah,
like it's following the basic hero's journey, which is really what all these films should be doing, even in their sequels. And I was like, oh, this is great. You know, I enjoyed it much more. Same with even sort of, you know, Captain America 1 has a lot of the first, like the montagey fighting stuff. I don't like.
I didn't like Captain America 1, the Winter Soldier.
Really?
The first
Yeah.
Avenger. Yeah, I wasn't a great fan of it.
It
It's
has
only like, yeah, and but I think it's just like things have got so bad now.
Well,
I love it all.
It's like I'd much rather watch Iron Man 2.
Phase 1, yeah, just like this is just perfect now.
Yeah, to think back in 2010, we were all complaining about of Iron Man 2 being just kind of weak, and then
I know,
you compare it to now, and you just go back.
Well, the joke was that Iron Man 2 was a commercial for the Avengers. That was the joke.
Yeah, that was the joke, and now I'm just like,
Widow, didn't it? Iron Man 2.
Yes. Yeah.
But what was I going to say? The thing is, I will say Winter Soldier. Whenever Winter Soldier's on, it doesn't matter if it's like halfway through and I've turned it over. I will watch it.
Yeah.
Anything that comes on now, like any movie that's in phase 4, if you want to say anything after, I won't watch it. If it's on, I'll be like, it's not. They're not ones I would like. I will watch again.
Yeah. No.
Whereas Winter Soldier, I will watch again. Oh, because it's such a good movie, and it's got it's got Robert Redford in it, for crying out loud.
No.
yeah, I loved, because like once Endgame, you know, came out, then of course me and my brother, we watched all of the films leading up to that before we went to the cinema to watch it. I'm sure a lot of people did this too, and nothing unique about it. But then what? It's true.
It's like, it's okay. Everyone does it.
Right. I did not do that.
Well, except for Luke. But anyway, like as far as I'm concerned, like once Endgame came out, I'm very spotty on the whole thing. I kind of lost interest altogether.
I mean, Endgame to me was the end. It was literally the end. And I, as I said, that really should have been the cutoff point. Let's stop here, rest for 5 years, and then come back in a new way. You know, whether that's the MCU now led by the Fantastic Four, and we get maybe a montage to say, here's what's happened in the world since.
It's I don't know. Even like Multiverse of Madness, when you mentioned Fantastic Four and you saw the thing, you're like, you're teasing us, but what are you going to do with this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel.
What are you going to do? And then even
all the time.
Even when when Wanda killed Professor X in Multiverse of Madness, my whole thing, I don't care what anyone says, I'm like, that would not happen. There's no way Wanda is killing Professor X. No. It's just, I don't care what universe you're in, it would never happen. Like, do you not know how strong Professor X is?
Yeah. No. So, no, not at all.
They lost me.
That infuriated me. The idea that they had Wanda murder not just Professor X, but like animated 1990s Professor X.
Professor X.
Like no.
His yellow wheelchair. He came in fully formed as our childhood memories.
Yes.
And even, Mr. Fantastic, like, he wouldn't just give away all his Black Bolt can kill. It was so, oh my god.
Yeah.
Black Bolt can kill, he just went opening his mouth. Oh, I just shut his mouth. Like,
yeah, no, there's a lot of it's as you were saying earlier, it's the lack of respect. It's like you've got these, not only do you have great characters, but you have great actors portraying these characters, and then you just dwindle them away like nothing.
My very weak argument that I have for all of these guys, so DC or Marvel, whoever it is, Vertigo, anyone, my argument is you have too much material. You have 80, literally, with Marvel and DC, you got 80 years worth of material. If we're talking about Batman, Superman, any of them, you should not be screwing anything up. We should not be sitting there saying they don't know how to tell a story, like they can't get the structure right. Because even if you didn't have an original idea, you can just pick up a comic book and go, I'm just going to pick up this comic book and just find it.
Exactly.
Story. That frustrates me. There's no excuse. Really.
There's no excuse.
To make a bad movie.
No excuse.
Because I think if I had been in charge, like Civil War would not have been a film. Civil War would have been a fucking phase.
Civil War was I think it was a terrible movie.
It was dreadful. That was I walked out and I was like, I'm done. That was me done with the MCU. Really, mostly.
I went with one of my godsons, my other godson. Like we would always go and watch the movies, and we walked out of Civil War. Normally we'd be like, we want to watch it again. Like I remember we walked out of Man of Steel, and the first thing in out of my mouth, like, we want to watch Man of Steel again. We walked out of Civil War, and it was just like, Auntie, what do you think? Yeah, it was all right. That was it.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, I don't talk about Civil War.
No,
that was painful.
we're okay. Yeah.
But you would have made that whole. But again, that's the same thing. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like Disney, Marvel. They'll take the name, so they'll take Ragnarok, they'll take Civil War, and we know how even Infinity War, which is Infinity Gauntlet, which I have somewhere. Hold on.
Yes.
Where's the comic? I just want to show.
Good arc.
It's a good arc. Like Infinity Gauntlet. Like and they made. Where's Lady Death? It's like,
I know.
Oh my god. It drove me nuts. I thought, what a great concept. What a great thing to do. And then they don't do it. There's
no follow through. That's it. There's no follow through. So they take these titles, and we know as the comic book readers, you know they're epic titles, and you know
and you love them.
Well, which is why you said you would have made Civil War a phase, and that would have made perfect sense.
Totally. Like, imagine, like, that would just been like, you oh my god, like everything would have been like the comics. Everything would have been something Civil War. It would have been Captain America Civil War, Iron Man Civil War, whatever, and then you have Avengers Civil War, and that can be your big climax for it, right? Like that could have been just
absolutely.
Because I love that comic. That's probably the last comic in the early 2000s to actually have like some cultural impact, because Captain America dies at the end. And I think that's something that you could have really done something really freaking cool with. And because I felt like the dilemma between Tony and Steve in the original comics was really good, right? Like both of them had completely valid points in the comic book of Civil War, right? Whether you register or you don't register as a superpowered individual, right? What are your human rights in this situation? Fascinating stuff. This new one, the Civil War in the movie, it was just they just weren't communicating. If they just would have finished their conversation, like the whole thing would have happened. If he just said, "Hey, these people are trying to frame Bucky because he was brainwashed for 80 years, and sorry he killed your parents, but he was brainwashed." Like
no, they tried to build it all around the Accords. I can't remember the country now.
The Wakanda Accords. How can you not
Sokovia.
remember? Sokovia, not Wakanda.
It was a Sokovia. They tried to build it all around that.
Yeah.
Which again would have fitted into the comic book theme of it. But even in that didn't even work. I mean, I'm still upset about Age of Ultron because they killed.
Oh, that was terrible.
I mean,
honestly,
you shot a speedster. God's sake. But anyway,
you shot a speed, and you also had oh crap, who was the voice of Ultron?
Oh, James
Spader.
James Spader. I was like over the moon when they cast him. I was like, he is great, and then he was terrible. Like
anyway.
It's funny. I mean, the thing is, like, we've been dogging on Marvel all night. It's disappointing because the first phase there are gems in the MCU.
Yeah.
It's not all bad. I love Iron Man 1, I love Iron Man 3,
You like Iron Man 3?
I do, because it's Shane Black. It's Shane Black, and they just thought, you know what, we're going to do something completely different.
Well, I like Ant-Man. I don't care what anyone says.
That's great. I like Ant-Man. I like Ant-Man.
Ant-Man 1 is fun. I don't think I've ever saw the second one.
I didn't like the second one.
You don't have to see You don't have to see the second one.
I'm good not seeing that. So I mean, there are Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Is a very good film. You don't like it? Oh, tell me why.
I was just bored. I got very bored of it.
I see.
I try. That's all I got. I just didn't enjoy it at all. I think my problem's James Gunn. I think that's probably my problem.
Okay.
Weird.
Why?
I just don't like him as a director.
Okay, that's fair enough.
That's all I've got. It's a really poor excuse. So that's all I got.
No, I mean
Just
it makes
ignore
sense.
it.
Like, who do I not like as a director? Because I'm pretty sure there's a few people. Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't jive with his movies very well. I just
See?
I love
Just
his
look at,
films.
like, everyone loves like a lot of people like enjoyed the Suicide Squad that Gunn directed, and I was
Yeah.
like, nope, nope.
I
Yeah.
liked it. I did like it. I liked it.
We all have our thing. We all have our thing.
Yeah,
We
but
have
I mean, I say all that to say that there are really good. There are gems in the MCU. There are really good seasons of Agents of Shield. You know, Jessica Jones' first season is really good. Daredevil seasons 1 and 3 are really good too. As well.
Punisher was
Punisher. I never watched the Punisher series. I know.
There's a scene in the prison.
Okay,
That's all I will say.
I feel like I need to watch Punisher.
You need to watch Punisher.
But I
Punisher's
did really like his bits in Daredevil season 2. That arc was fantastic. First Avengers movie, great. You know,
Yeah.
dug that. Yeah, there are definitely really good moments, but it really does feel that kind of that Civil War period and after,
Civil War period.
you know, it just sort of
Just
it-
sounded
it-
weird.
Yeah, no, it just kind of it began to dwindle. I think they started pushing too much stuff out. The story started to kind of their quality dwindled, and now we're in this moment of just complete gluttony of Marvel shows and movies, and it's, you know, She-Hulk is
You
the
think-
prime example of it.
Yeah.
anyway.
Do you think? Because it just seems to be like after they. I don't know if She-Hulk is the last thing in Phase 4.
No,
It's-
the last thing in Phase 4, which came out of the blue, is Wakanda Forever.
Is that the last Phase 4 movie?
That's at
Like,
the
last
yep.
Phase 4 thing, and then
That's
that's
the end of Phase
That's
4.
it.
Wakanda Forever is the end of Phase 4.
Okay.
At the last.
Oh, I forgot about Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi came out last.
Oh,
was it last
wow.
year or the year?
Yeah.
That was
that one
Phase
came
4.
out. That was
Yeah, that's
real
what I mean. There's
memorable.
nothing like memorable to be like, oh yeah, that was great. I don't know. I don't know why it just even popped into my head.
Yeah.
We forgot a whole ass movie.
Yeah. No, I think at the
Yeah.
last sort of big Marvel convention thing that they did, they Kevin Feige said, the last film in Phase 4 is now going to be Wakanda Forever, which I don't think was meant to be part of the plan. I think it was a last minute scramble, because it's like, wait, what does Wakanda Forever have to do with tying up whatever the hell is going on with Phase 4, since
That's the
nothing
thing,
is going
right?
on?
If it was all cohesive,
Mm.
then let's just say for argument's sake, it was all leading up to Kang. Then there would be elements of that, because they're in space anyway. Bruce Banner's
No, yeah.
space. So if that was the big, the big bad, then it would make sense. But you've had all these movies in Phase 4, and it just doesn't. And with Wakanda Forever, we know they're just gone into. Can we talk about Neymar and his flying trainers?
All right, well, let's talk about our reactions to the Black Panther Wakanda Forever Forever
Forever.
trailer. Go on.
It's just
Nadine, you're
Neymar,
first.
and that's all I got. I just got Neymar and his Hermes wing.
His Hermes boots.
His Hermes wing boots.
His
That's
flying
all I
booties.
got.
I laughed when I saw him flying down.
Floating about.
I wasn't sure what I'd seen. I said, because I'm in this movie group, so I'll give a shout out to my movie and TV fanatics group. So I'm in
Ayo.
this group, and someone, I don't know if I'd posted it, or I think I'd posted the trailer, and then someone just did laughing faces, and I was like, did I miss something? I watched it again. I was like, he has got little. I was like, has he got little wings? in his
Little
boots?
wings.
And
And-
I just thought, okay.
I don't remember him having little winged boots in the comics.
Me either.
See, I didn't remember, but my brother said in the new comics he does.
In the new
Because
comics.
because they need to justify him, or the later comic, they need to justify him flying. I'm like, but you don't need to justify a man who's from the water
Flying.
flying. Aquaman I think he has his trident, but he's a half god, whatever he is. He
Yeah.
leaping bounds and stuff. you don't have to suspend belief for that. You just believe that's how it is. So
Yes.
why would you go and put little wing booties?
Little wig boots.
Well, I think this actually what annoys me is what as well is the fact that we are ignoring all of the kind of original source material for what they're doing now. And
Yeah.
Marvel Comics sort of post 2011 generally suck. And taking inspiration from post 2011 Marvel Comics is
Less than
nail in the
favorable.
coffin.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if that was. I remember a friend of mine. He lives in Detroit, and I got a text message at like midnight, and all it said was, "I am done. I am done with Marvel." And I can't remember. I think they'd rebooted something. Something had been rebooted, and I was just like, "Yeah, I understood that." And then also it was like the whole thing. You know when they made Captain America like part of Hydra. I can't remember if that was 2011 or if that was earlier.
That was after. That was
definitely after. Yeah, I kind of remember that one.
Yeah, all of that. That's when it like completely
Yeah.
just. I said, "There's no consistency."
No.
That's all it is. I said, "You can reboot a universe. There's nothing wrong." Like, if I share, I just like I bought my favorites. Like this is what is this Dark Side War? Like so this is the end of the New 52.
Yo.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so you got the Dark Side Wars 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that ends the New 52 universe.
Yeah.
So when you have Rebirth, you have this new universe, but there's still a consistent theme that connects the New 52 to the Rebirth universe. And whereas Marvel we're gonna reboot. Okay, why?
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no need for it. But no, I mean I remember thinking when I was watching back to Black Panther, like when I was watching the trailer, to me I have a sort of an icky feeling when I'm watching the trailer because there is no Black Panther, there is no T'Challa.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of like, why do we have a sequel to Black Panther without T'Challa? Why have we obviously it's a tragic loss to not have Chadwick Boseman because he's fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
Like, he was such a great actor just in loads of stuff. Like
he was brilliant. Did you ever see him in the James Brown biopic?
No, I haven't seen that.
He's brilliant. He's so good in that. He's brilliant in that.
Oh God. I mean, yeah, it's a shame to not have him, but at the same time, the reason I feel icky watching the trailer is I do feel like that's a little bit of exploitation. I feel like the film is leaning so hard into the loss of him that they're manipulating audiences to come and see the film because of it's a quote unquote celebration to him. It's like, well, I don't feel like this is genuine. I feel like this is far from that. So
you don't think well, it's hard to call. We haven't seen it yet, but you don't think it was honoring him in the right way?
Not at all. I don't. I think it would have been better to have recast, but I think it would have been better to have waited.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying earlier. It's like there should have been a break. There should have been at least like a 5, because time flies. Even a 3 to 5 year break before you have the next phase sets in.
Yeah. Because then by that point the emotion of the loss and stuff like that would have simmered down. The fact that they just really jumped on it the minute, as in Marvel really jumped on it, kind of the minute that news broke that we've got the new film coming out. Oh, we're not going to recast, and then it's like, well, what the hell are you going to do with the Black Panther film without the Black Panther? People want to see him. I feel like it's a disservice to people who are fans of his character.
I only realized it's only when I think something had happened. It must have been his anniversary. And I only realized oh my God, it's only 2 years. It's not that long.
It isn't. No, it's still very, very fresh in all of our minds, especially because these Marvel films, they are so interconnected. And he was in the What If. I guess that's another show that came out.
That's what I haven't watched. I haven't watched the What Ifs.
I haven't either. But he was in it, and people loved it because they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great to hear his voice do T'Challa one more time." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think if there was, I feel like if there was legit respect for him and what he had done, it would have been, guys, we're gonna shut this production down. We're gonna pause for a couple years, couple more years, come back. You know, you're already doing the multiverse stuff. Just come, you know, whatever.
Yeah, easy.
This is the thing. There's so many
Yeah.
ways in which it could be. In ways it can be done.
Yeah.
Because the material's there to support it being done in various ways.
I think
It'll be interesting to see what they, because obviously in Wakanda Forever they have to explain it. They have to say what happened, and in an odd way that's going to be kind of difficult because what are you gonna?
This is my point. This is why I'm like, this is uncomfortable because like the actor is gone, and this is why this is happening. But also the actor isn't the character.
Yes, I'm saying, well, how are you going to explain T'Challa? And the thing is, T'Challa's he's such a strong character.
He is
in the comic comic books. Even in the animated series, he's such a strong character. So for him to have his demise, for him, there has to be a really strong. I can't know if I'm saying that. There has to be a really strong reason.
Yeah,
for him
because like it's not like Thanos did it.
Yeah,
and it has to be like a Thanos event for that to happen, and
that's kind of what I always feel. Yeah,
it just can't be. He got lost in the forest one day because that wouldn't.
Yeah.
Not in a disrespectful way, but it just wouldn't work.
No, absolutely.
I didn't spot it in the trailer. I know we're talking about the trailer. I didn't spot it in the trailer. My brother said you could see Ironheart.
She is, yes. Ironheart is in it. There are two scenes where you see the Ironheart armor shoot off into the sky, and there's a very quick glimpse of the kind of Tony Stark-esque inside the mask look, where she's like, "Let's go,
let's go."
I think I was just distracted by Namor and his
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Ironheart. I don't have any kind of strong opinions on her either way. You know, good for her first appearance. I just think, man, you know, a Black Panther movie without Black Panther, the way the
very
two
strange
trailers that we've had, they've just really milked this sort of melancholy sense of loss.
I don't. I mean, obviously, so we have to watch it, but
yeah,
I can't see how it's going to work. But
I didn't either.
I won't. That's why they got to bring the Namor storyline in.
Well, yes. I mean, really, the film they should have just done a Namor film. I mean, at the end of the day.
I think they're worried about Aquaman now. Don't care what you say.
Yeah.
You know, you got Aquaman. The movie's already happened.
It's also true. Yeah.
The Aquaman 2 movie covered it. There's no way, no matter how they dress it up.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, you can have the comic book geeks go, "Well, when Namor came out first before Aquaman." Well, maybe he did, but the point is, if you say Aquaman's name, and they may mock him. You know, say he rides an octopus and all this, or not an octopus. Whatever he rides,
a seahorse.
Seahorse, that's it. He rides. I should know this. Like he rides a sea. You can mock him.
Yeah.
But people know who Aquaman is.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
You say Namor, and it's only like the true geeks be like, yeah, majority of people like, who's Namor? And then they have to pretend, oh yeah, I know about Namor. No, you don't.
No. Yeah, no, anyway. We'll definitely see it when it comes out, but it's yeah, it's an interesting couple of trailers. They don't leave me I'm not super excited, to be honest.
No.
And you know what? It would probably, not even about the excitement part of it, but I think you could probably be invested, might not even be the right word, but you'd probably be invested in it if there'd been something within all the stuff we've talked about, if there'd been some reference in like She-Hulk or Loki or any of those other series, even Moon Knight.
Yes.
If there'd been some reference to this upset in Wakanda, because it's not like Wakanda doesn't.
Oh yeah.
Exist.
Yeah.
Right.
So even in Multiverse of Madness, it could easily have made a reference, some kind of
easily.
Because that's how they introduced Wakanda in the first place. I can't remember whether it's the Avengers movie or an Iron Man.
Iron Man 2 foreshadows Wakanda in the background on the little display.
Yeah. And they mentioned, so you have it on the map, and I think there's another reference in
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, yeah. So it's not as if you couldn't done something.
Yep.
So when we do get
Sloppy.
to Forever, we're not like, oh my god, we've had some reference made to his passing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have worked.
I think so.
It goes down to writing, and he's.
I also probably wouldn't have had him
Absolutely.
like pass. I would have had him missing
Yeah.
Sure.
because the only way to bring him back, which they will do, I'm sure, is an alternate universe version of him, of Black Panther has to come, and that can explain, I guess, why he looks different. But we have 2 War Machines. No one questions that.
So true.
We had 2 War Machines. War Machine.
You know,
I'm sure there's been another 2. Well, we've had two Hulks.
we've had 2 Hulks,
We've had 2 Hulks.
2
And
War
it's not like
Machines.
you can say, we haven't had, because at the end of Hulk, Tony Stark's is in the.
Oh yeah. They,
Yeah.
as much as they want to deny it,
He's there.
yep. Edward Norton's Hulk is canon.
Yeah, it is. Why wouldn't it?
And he's the best canon.
Oh yeah. I love the first Iron Man, and I do really like the first Hulk movie. I think it's a good one. People,
I like it because it's so different as well. You know,
Yeah.
to what you see later, especially.
Can we mention Blade very quickly and all the
yeah.
craziness that's been going, all the stuff that I've been hearing? So they've had to get a new director.
Yeah. Didn't the
Like-
director leave?
Yeah, and then I think the internet gossip is that the script was lackluster and there were only 2 action scenes in it.
Yeah, I heard something about that as well. Yeah, the script.
How can you do this? How? Like Blade, I love Blade. I love the first movie. I love the second movie. You know what I mean? And
We
to
don't
me,
talk
because
about the 3rd movie.
we don't talk about the third movie. We don't talk about Blade Trinity. Man, that movie, I hated it when it came out. Anyway, like, no, because like when I was younger, like that was one of those like pillars of the movies that I loved, in rotation. And the fact that, and I'm not excited at all about the new one in the MCU, especially because, like, I don't know, Wesley Snipes kind of made it his own thing.
Blade.
Yeah, he is.
Wesley Snipes even fits in with the 1990s X-Men Spider-Man, the Blade that appeared in the
yeah.
Like he even kind of
Yeah.
matches him in a sense, in that sort of, in his temperament and this this underlying anger. I mean, I don't. Marshall Ali, he's a good actor. So I'm not saying I'm not saying he wouldn't be a good Blade, but I'm like, I didn't realize they got this far, and I was like, I thought they were like halfway done for some reason. I didn't realize they hadn't even started. They had problems with the script, and the directors swanned off.
Yeah,
swanned off.
Was it something like there were like
good one.
only 2 action scenes or 2 lackluster action scenes or something along those lines?
Yeah. Like of all the movies,
It's like,
2 action
The
scenes.
fact that they're lackluster. It's one thing saying that we've only got 2 action scenes.
Yeah.
They're lackluster action scenes. And I was saying to you, I was talking to my brother about Blade. I said, do you remember like the club scene in Blade?
oh
Yeah, one of the best scenes
The
ever.
blood. And you have all the action scenes because that's who Blade is. Blade is.
Yep.
There was more action in the cartoons when he was chasing after Morpheus.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's true. It like he was. Yeah. It's. I think it's quite telling. It also reminds me of which film was it? There was one Marvel film where they were like, "Oh, don't worry about the action scenes. We told the director that we have that sorted." I can't remember what director that was.
It was supposed to. I remember this was supposed to be Patty Jenkins, wasn't it?
I can't remember which one it was.
Jenkins did Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she was supposed to do a. She was supposed to do.
But she was meant to do a Marvel film
movie
as well. She was being
Yeah.
brought on for either Marvel,
Yeah.
maybe it was Star Wars. I can't remember.
Oh, maybe it was Star Wars. I don't know.
Mostly Star Wars. Something to do with the Squadron.
Yes, Rogue
Yeah.
Squadron or something like that. But yeah, no, she was. I can't remember which director it was, but it was a lady director who was going to do something. Might have been someone who was maybe originally going to do like Captain Marvel or something like that. But yeah, they were like, "Oh, we've got the action scenes sorted. You just need to kind of fill in the blanks of how you get to these action scenes." And then you think about like Edgar Wright, who was meant to do Ant-Man, who you know, for creative differences left the project, and now you see it with Blade, and you're like, oh, again, it goes back to the whole like committee stuff. This is clearly just you're not listening to the committee, therefore we're going to fire you. Because I think the director was fired. I think they said he was fired.
What, fired from Blade?
I think he was fired. I might be wrong. I can't. I might be getting things mixed up. But I thought I read somewhere that it was labeled as fired.
Right.
But then also the actor playing Blade was also unhappy with what was on paper.
I'd find that really frustrating. I think because as well, we always have all this. There's always a lot of build up.
Yeah.
For Marvel, so they announce this person's playing whoever.
Yeah, they make a big deal out of it.
Nothing, no whatever. How long ago did they announce Ali is playing Blade?
Oh, years ago now.
Yeah, years.
Yeah.
Years.
And more than one.
Yeah, which is why I thought the time we got to this point, it should be. I'm waiting for a teaser.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously. And it's like, well, will it ever come out? Would if Blade was being done by Marvel Netflix, would you be more excited?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would have too.
I would.
Yeah.
I would.
I don't trust, and this is why I don't trust Reborn. I don't trust Disney Plus shows to commit to great A, storytelling, and B, action.
I think it's just a problem with just being a Disney anything.
Yeah.
That's long and the short. As long as it's anything pre-Disney, then you can kind of not even guarantee it, but you can be prepared for it being something unique about it.
Yeah.
Something unique about Daredevil, unique about Punisher, Jessica Jones, even Luke Cage, even Iron Fist, much to my there's something unique about it.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, it becomes a Disney, Disney's in the opening credits. It changes something because Disney has their image. They have their family
That's it. Yeah.
image, and they're not going to sacrifice that just because they want to give you and I a perfect hallway scene with Daredevil's guts hanging out.
Right. I what I can't understand is why in 2022 Disney are not clever enough to think we need a grown up. We need to go back to having a grown up brand, which I think Touchstone used to be. It was Disney. I think it was Touchstone way back in the 90s and early 2000s. So Touchstone movies were Disney movies, but they were for grown ups. So they didn't have to adhere to the Disney, rules because it was Touchstone, but it's owned by Disney.
Yeah.
Why they didn't do that with
Marvel.
It just to me it just shows a lack of respect.
Yeah.
For your
I mean,
audience.
I think that's.
I would almost, if it was me, I would be tempted to put all of this stuff now that they own Fox. I'd be tempted to put it underneath a Fox brand because Fox has, all kinds of stuff. Alien.
You got your aliens. You got your predators.
Alien, Predator. Is Terminator in Fox?
No. Terminator's independent. Interestingly enough.
Okay. So you have a lot, if you go on Disney Plus, you look at the Fox catalog, there's a lot of really violent stuff on Disney Plus because it's all Fox stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you notice they won't call it Disney. It's under separate. No, it's not under Stars. Disney Stars or
something like that. There are different sort of labels, but if you just scroll on the main page of Disney Plus, I mean, I'm looking at Family Guy, Scrubs, Modern Family, Alien versus Predator, Walking Dead. This is just on the main page.
Yeah.
It
is there.
Say again.
And then no, it is there. It's just that.
But so it's come on, you have the brand power to do something that's gritty, and I'm not saying we need to make it so that kids can't watch these comic characters because it's these comics are but you should be able to do a
the kids would be fine. We were fine. No one cared about my well-being.
I agree.
Absolutely.
We just watched it.
One of my favorite stories is when I was I think around 7, I somehow convinced my parents to purchase RoboCop on VHS. And then I went upstairs and watched it on my own.
Traumatized.
And I wasn't traumatized, but I loved it because I'd only seen it on TV, edited down, but finally seeing it for real.
Great.
And you
all the cursing, all the blood.
We came out. I was watching Hellraiser, and I should not have been watching Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Yes.
I was very young. I came out okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like, the kids, you can balance it out. They got their Miss Marvel, so they're
Yeah.
fine.
They're
They got
fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I do. I agree. I think you can definitely have your kid programs and stuff, but I think with certain characters like Blade, like Deadpool, if you
Punisher.
Punisher, they
definitely
really
Punisher.
do need the R rating to be done well, I think.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
I agree. I most definitely agree, which is why, I'll watch Daredevil. I'm not gonna be sitting there saying I'm optimistic about it, but I'll watch it. She-Hulk, going back to She-Hulk, it's this. She-Hulk could go either way, but whatever way you do it, you should do it well.
Yeah, I think that really sums up She-Hulk. Like, if you were gonna do your comedy, if you're gonna do your episodic comedy, write an episodic comedy.
Why? Someone said, I think they said, but it's satire. It's the
What the hell is it satiring?
Exactly.
It's not satire. And
No.
it's not supposed to be taken seriously. I said, I don't mind all that.
Yes.
But make it good and make it consistent, and just give me a reason to want to see. I didn't want to sit down and watch it, but
No,
I didn't either. I did it for this podcast. That's what I did.
I watched the last.
Yeah.
I think Luke messaged me. He's like, "Have you watched the latest episode?" And I'm like, "Nope."
Nope.
And he goes, "Oh, I might have given you a spoiler." I'm like, "Don't care." I don't care.
Yeah.
I think it was the wedding episode that I
Yeah,
said
episode,
something.
I'm like, you could spoil away. It wouldn't. I
Yeah.
won't. There's nothing that you said to me that made me, when I watched it, be like, "Oh, Luke
Oh
ruined it."
no!
Yeah.
Told me that we saw Daredevil's mask. Oh darn!
Yeah, I'm like, damn,
Oh.
I'm so upset. I wish he hadn't told me that. God damn it!
Yeah.
There was none of
Hey,
that.
Hey, Luke, my drawings. Remember we
Yeah,
do that?
I was about to
Oh,
say,
There we go.
Phil's been sketching while we've been
wow.
talking.
We were talking about Mario, and I thought that was the funniest thing to do at the time. So
That is so cool. This is better than
Thanks.
the She-Hulk series.
thank
I would
you.
watch this.
I would watch
Right,
that.
Mario versus She-Hulk. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good. What else did I draw? Oh, there we go.
Brilliant.
There's us. I drew us for the first time.
Oh my god, I need this. I need this. She-Hulk
Yeah.
has no story.
Oh my god, I love that. That's really
And
funny.
there you go. That those are all my ideas so far. That's about it. That's
I think I need this. I need this copy because I can just like sum
Yeah.
up my evening. It's
sure.
just so cool.
I'll send it to you. No problem.
Yeah, I want this as well. This is hilarious. I love the little, like, the three of us there. That's too funny. That's too
Me
funny.
just pointing. It has no. This is all I got. It's got no story. It's got no.
Yeah.
wish
I like,
could
I
see
like
this
because he's
more.
both got us, like,
That's what
gesturing.
it is, 'cause that's the frustration you have when you watch it. You're like, oh, just. I want you to be good. I wanted you to be good.
We did. We literally finished every episode going, "What happened? Nothing."
It was hard. It was a difficult watch because like nothing hooked me to the next one, really.
No.
No. But I guess we can wrap up there because this is our longest episode of 2.5
Longest
hours.
episode.
Has it? Oh wow.
Yes. And my critiquing could continue into the night. So
I didn't think I had so much to say.
I've got more.
Magical.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no, Nadine,
No,
it was
thanks.
great to have
Thank you
you.
for being
Tell
here.
everyone, give a shout out to your books. Tell everyone about your books and stuff. And
Oh.
I'll put them in the chat as well. Or not in the chat, I'll put them in the description.
You know what? I don't even have it. Oh, I do. Hold on. I need to do like a rollback.
Okay, roll back.
Let me scroll back.
Roll back the rock to the dawn. of
So
time.
we have. This is the first book in the Angelica Henley series.
Big screen. Let's see it, Luke.
Oh, sorry. Hang on.
You got it?
Yep,
There we go.
the
And then
Jigsaw
this
Man.
is This is the book 2 in the series that came out in July. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
The Binding
Oh,
Ring.
it's hardcover. Nice.
Nice.
So you can get that one. And this is 99p on Kindle.
Well, there you go.
Do
Oh,
my QVC
perfect.
moment. 99p on Kindle right now for a limited deal.
Yes, at the time of recording.
This is the first one. This is the second one. So
The Jigsaw Man.
yeah, I'm waiting for DC to give me a call. So DC, if you're listening,
I know,
I have
right?
ideas.
Get Nadine in to write some scripts.
Yeah,
for
I
your
didn't. You
DC
know what? I
project.
didn't even write for Marvel. I'm not fussy.
I mean,
I'll
I
tell you-
would if they came to me and said write us something, I'd be like, you got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, then
definitely. I'll give me the job. I'll fix things for you.
Yes, I think we should start it. Should we start like an internet campaign?
Yes, let's
Big
do
do it,
that.
do
Yeah.
it, do it, and then you know, two months later, it's gonna be Luke Coons walks away from Marvel due to creative differences.
Nadine Matheson has to sign that. Yeah, there's an NDA. I can't talk about it.
I can't talk about it, but what I can say is that shit. No. But yeah, cool. No, this was a lot of fun. We will definitely have you back
was.
on
Thank
for
you so much.
another chat, another Marvel chat or DC chat. Their topics are endless.
They are.
Next week, just so people know, it's going to be a noir evening. We're going to be talking about noir films. And it's going to be positive, unlike our Marvel bashing and Andor bashing.
Oh
We were
yeah,
very positive. I thought we had a lot. It was a critique, a very.
It was a good critique. It was a constructive critique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what it was.
But
with professional writers and professionally explaining how this doesn't work.
all these other professionals aren't writing professionally. But yeah, so we have another writer friend of mine is coming on, Matthew Booth. He's written various novels and stuff like that. He's going to come on and chat noir films with us. I think we're going to be, just talking about all things noir. Maybe talking about some Chinatown and some Chinatown sequel and all that kind of stuff. But it'll be a fun evening talking about non-comic booky things. But then the week after that,
It'll just be
October
booky things.
19th, we have another pal, AJ Black, who's going to be talking about. We're going to be diving into James Bond, all the James Bond.
Isn't it the 60th anniversary? They got something this week, or there's something.
Yeah, they were doing a concert. I think it's at the Royal Albert Hall. They were doing a concert. It looked amazing. I would have loved to have gone.
They did.
But,
Me too.
yeah, but so we'll be talking about James Bond, the future of James Bond, what we think will happen, what we would like to happen, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to say good night.
Good night.
Thanks to everyone
having me.
for tuning in, and thanks for coming, Nadine.
You're welcome.